All right. Welcome to another edition of RNZ Live. I am Johnny Zuko. I will be joined with Romero Tutor, who will be joining on in a second. And yeah, so we'll be doing these lives every other Wednesday going forward. This is our third episode. All right. Yeah, our third episode. So yeah. So today we're gonna be reacting to some movie news. We're gonna be doing a ranking of our Friday the 13th franchise movies from worst to best, and we're also gonna be reviewing the new Orphan movie, First Kill, and They Slash Them. So that's what we'll be doing today. And what's going on? Claytanic, what's up, man? How you been? Long time no see, man. How you doing, man? Let's see. I have you the Terrifier 2 trailer, man? I watched that thing like maybe 3, 4 times, and I can't get over the fact how nasty that trailer is, man. That is, oh yeah, that's gonna be a raw fucking movie, man. Seriously, if it's anything like the first movie, man, Terrifier 2 is gonna be really, really something. I can't wait. Um, it looks like Salem's Lot, the remake, is without a release date. That was, let's see, Salem's Lot remake is once again without a release date. In the midst of many big time changes over at Warner Bros., we've learned tonight that Salem's Lot remake from Warner New Line has been. Let's see. Originally set for theatrical release September 9th, 2022. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Oh, there we go.
Every fucking time. I always do that shit every time, man. I'm sitting here trying to stir this damn coffee, had the camera backwards. Oh shit.
All good, man. All good. I
All
was
right,
just
so
I was just reacting to this, man, because this just came out an hour ago. Salem's Lot remake is once again without a release date.
that's God telling everybody something that shit probably shouldn't be. Is that the one with William Dafoe? Is
Uh,
William Dafoe supposed to be playing
no,
the vampire?
no. This is the Toby Hooper remake, the Stephen King one. Have you ever seen the original Salem's Lot?
Nah. Everybody keeps. It's like a two-part series, right?
Yeah, well, it was a TV show, so that's why it was. It's the one with that. It looks like Nosferatu, but he's all blue and shit.
Yeah, and there's one shot that everybody says haunts them all their lives, and it's that kid that's at the window or some shit like that.
Yeah, he's just like pointing with his like dead white eyes.
I Somebody was telling me to go back and watch it, and they said that it holds up pretty well, but I don't know. I'll stick with Nosferatu on some real shit. In that
Well,
movie, there's no dialogue at all.
well, Santa's Law was originally set to come out September 9th, but now it was bumped to April 21st, 2023, 2023, and now the film has been undated. It's likely that Warner Bros. Is trying to figure out what to do with the movie and whether to bring it to theaters or stream it on HBO Max. We'll report more as we learn about it. James Wan produced for Warner and New Line, along with Gaby Doberman, who also did It, The Nun, and Annabelle Comes Home, writing the script, also directing the movie.
James Wan produced it.
Yeah. Uh,
They might have to release that. I don't know. I'm
Insanos Lot,
behind. I'm behind
Insanos
James
Lot,
Wan.
In Salems Lot 2023, haunted by an accident from his childhood, author Ben Mears returns to his hometown of Jerusalem Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover the town is being preyed upon by a bloodthirsty vampire and his loyal servant. The cast includes Louis Pullman, Mackenzie Lee, Alfred Woodrow, Bill Camp, John Benjamin Hickey, Nicholas Covetti, Jordan Preston Carter, William Sadler, Spencer Clark, Cade Woodward, Deborah Christopherson, and P.U. Asbeek. Yeah, so it looks like this one is undated, and much like Batgirl, this one might be in danger of being canceled also.
Warner Brothers is on a rampage, bro. Warner Brothers is on a fucking warpath. That dude, whoever, Warner Brothers, man, it's crazy, right? Because Warner Brothers is in so much shit now, right?
Yeah.
But just a couple years ago, I was the one bitching about, oh my God, Disney's about to buy Fox. And all these Fox properties like Die Hard and Alien and Predator are going to be in crazy jeopardy because Disney's going to water that shit down. And Disney just was behind Prey. And Prey was all right. Did we even talk about that last episode?
We touched on it, yes, a bit. Yes, we did.
Okay, all right. No. It was Black Phone was what we didn't really touch on last time. We can get to that.
We can touch on that one. What have we been watching? When we get to it, if you want.
Oh man, no, that's on my list. When you was like old and new, when I was like, are we going to talk about what we watched recently, old or new? I've been watching some shit, bro. Like I've been watching a lot of good old shit, but I've been watching a lot of new bad shit. And we'll get there, man, because we talked about it last night. Like when you hit me up last night after you watched, we gonna get there, man, because that shit. And we had to be very careful with our choice of words too. We got to be very careful with our choice of words during that one review because we don't want to get fucking canceled by anybody.
It will be controversial. I will have some controversial thoughts about that movie. We will get there. I promise you. We will. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that is worth. Hey, did you see the Terrifier 2 trailer?
I did. I did. I'm ready for it. And I said this in my trailer reaction, bro. I said that, and this is exactly what I said. I said, I am low key becoming such a whore for those types of horror movies. Like, you remember how, like, you know how, like, Fried Berry is, like, really grimy and gritty and violent. Yeah. It's like shit like Fried Berry, The Terrifier, VFW, Hobo with a Shotgun, like that style of film. I'm becoming like wrapped up into that shit because we go in knowing what to expect. Like we know exactly what to expect from that shit. And Terrifier 2, first of all, my only thing is like, how does he survive? How did he survive that shit?
Well, in the synopsis, it says that he made a deal with the devil. And it will explain how he became supernatural because Terrifier is supposed to be a prequel to All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve, right? Wait, whoa. All Hallows Eve came first, though, right? And the Terrifier
but Terrifier came out. It came out, I think, 2-3 years later. But I think in timeline wise, Terrifier takes place before All Hallows Eve. Because if you watch Terrifier and All Hallows Eve, Art the Clown is more supernatural in that film than he is in Terrifier. In Terrifier, he's just the man. And it looks like in Terrifier 2 that he's going to be supernatural as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they balance that out.
I'm waiting for it. Plus, the chick from Sleepaway Camp is in that shit. The chick from Halloween 5's in there. So I'm like, all right, I at least want to be able to root for one person in there. Other than that, I know what I'm going into Terrifier 2 for. I know exactly what I'm going there for. And it looks dope, though. It does. It looks decent. But it's going to be a lot of people that go into it and they're going to be like, oh, well, the acting was subpar and the story wasn't Schindler's List. Like, it's going to be those bougie-ass horror fans that are going to go in there bitching about it. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it because I said that we're so spoiled as horror fans, man. We go into the wrong movies expecting the wrong fucking things, man. We do.
You of all people who just said that, I just read your review about Orphan First Kill, bro. Come on, dude. Come on.
And listen, this is the thing. Like, there was so many people commenting and was like, "What? I loved it," and I'm surprised you didn't like. No, like the first one, all I remember is her being like 80 years old, but she was like she's a little ass old head. That's all she is. She's a little ass old head. And I remember a tree house on fire. That movie's forgettable as shit for me. And then the second one, I watched the trailer and I'm like, nah. But then last night I said, yo, I have some time to kill. Let me give this a chance. Like, I love to be proven wrong, bro. And I watched it and I just flipped the laptop closed at some point. And then I flipped the laptop back up and I was like, you know what? I started it. Let me finish it so I can do like a fair assessment for this shit. And I watched the rest of it. And by the end of it, I'm just like whatever, man. Then they're talking about making a part 3. And I'm like, y'all really about to franchise this little ass old head. Like, I'm tired of the orphan, the girl, the boy, the thing, the fucking, the inanimate object. Like, I hate this subgenre, bro. I don't like it. Oh, Frank Welker Wonder Hour says, hey, friends, yo, what's good, man? Thank you for joining.
Welcome to the live. Welcome to RNZ Live with Romero and Zuko. We are both movie critics and movie reviewers. We both have our own podcast, and we got together to do this and talk about pop culture and movie reviews. And that's pretty much it, man. And this is pretty much just two friends just shooting the shit with each other, pretty much. We kind of devolved our stuff. Cinema Space. Orphan First Kill was an amazing movie, like a...
Is he being sarcastic? Is he being sarcastic right now? I feel like he's fucking with us right now. Is that Aaron?
Is
that Aaron? Jesus, man.
Well, it is a slow news week. There's not really much to go off of in terms of headlines and whatnot. You just want to jump in?
But there is.
Oh, okay. What's that?
It's not really nothing crazy, but I'm like, when you said movie news, I was like, okay, let me go scroll and see what's what. I mean, for anybody interested, it's we got our first look at Pinocchio. The Robert Zemeckis, Johnny. I don't know if you are like following that.
Zemeckis, or was that Del Toro?
Robert Zemeckis. Del Toro just dropped the animated movie trailer, and Robert Zemeckis, I didn't even know the trailer dropped today. I didn't even watch it. I literally just found out before we tapped into this live stream, but they released a photo of what Pinocchio looked like. They did drop a teaser, and the teaser gave me the warm fuzzies. I'm not even gonna hold you, but Zemeckis, yeah. Tom Hanks is playing Geppetto, all that shit. And I think the biggest thing people are going to bitch about is that, what's her name? Is it the Blue Fairy or something like that? She's black now. She's black. And the chick that played Harriet Tubman, and she was in Bad Times at the El Royale, Cynthia Erivo, she's going to play the fairy. And I know it's going to be a whole bunch of people that are like, the fairy's not black. Why would they do that? But yeah, Pinocchio just dropped the trailer. I still didn't see it. I'll probably watch it at some point tonight and probably do a trailer action for it. But Pinocchio got its first trailer. The Batman got his writers. The Batman got the same 2 writers from the first movie. Yeah, Matt Reeves and what's the guy's name? Tomlin or something like that.
Yeah, they both signed a multi-year deal with Warner Brothers Discovery.
And they made it out like bandits too.
I'm not sure if that's a good place for Reeves, honestly, with all this shit that's going on with Warner and Discovery. Like, they just canceled the new animated Batman series. They pulled that. They pulled 2 other Batman series off the shelter, and they're on a canceling spree right now, dude.
Yeah, man. They I feel like with Matt Reeves signing that deal with Warner Brothers at DC, he just locked into a fucking death row or bad boy contract, because they're going to be like, listen, we need an entire Batman franchise. They're going to want 2 more movies. They're going to want a Joker film. They're going to want a Mr. Freeze movie. They'll probably give Jeffrey Wright, mark my words, they will give Jeffrey Wright his own spinoff. Matter of fact, I think they already did. Isn't it like the Commissioner Gordon or Gotham PD series or something?
Yeah, that got canceled too.
says race swaps need to stop being a. Yeah, Cinema Space says race swaps need to stop being an issue. Like, get over it. As long as they can act, who cares? You know what? I'll say this as far as the race swaps go. I don't mind the race swaps. I don't like when they do it just for shock value. Like when they do it just to do it. Like if it fits the story, I don't give a fuck. Like I don't like Fantastic Four as a Fantastic Four movie, but I didn't care that Michael B. Jordan was going to be Johnny Storm as long as it fit the story. But they kind of just did it just to do it, and he still ain't got shit on Chris Evans as the Human Torch. As bad as those movies are, like they did it for no reason. Nick Fury, like I'll take Samuel L. Jackson over David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury any day. Like people forget that.
Bro. David Hasselhoff's Nick Fury fan, like dude, that shit is like cheesy as fuck, but it's awesome. Come on, we all know what we got when we need David Hasselhoff's gonna be Nick Fury. It was like, okay, the dude from Baywatch. Like we're not supposed to take that serious. Like come on.
No.
But I feel like Sam Jackson as Nick Fury was like, that was awesome. But I remember when Sam Jackson was casted as Nick Fury, it wasn't a big deal though.
Right. Because it's Samuel Jackson.
I don't remember being a big deal.
Samuel Jackson, everybody knows like Samuel Jackson is going to bring something to it. Like he's at that point in his career where he can kind of do whatever the fuck he wants to do with any role. He can just sleepwalk through it and get a check, but he's not going to half-ass it. Like even like Triple X3, The Return of Xander Cage, he's in 2 scenes in that whole movie. He's in the beginning and he's at the end. But he still brings a little something to it, even though he knows it's bullshit. Like the same thing you wouldn't expect him to do, and I thought the first one was decent, but you wouldn't expect him to bring nothing to the Hitman's Bodyguard. But he brought something to the role. But the race swaps, like when they I don't know, man. They sometimes they just I don't mind, but sometimes they just do it just to do it. He said, love Jackson in it. It's Ultimates universe accurate too. Okay. And he says, don't hassle the Hawk.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Don't hassle the Hawk, man. He also says, Frank Wilker Wonder Hour says, I don't want an overreaching Batman universe. I just want a good standalone Batman related stuff. I agree.
Elslerod says Ice Cube as Fury. Oh my God.
A variant of Nick Fury is Ice Cube. That would be fucking hard, bro. Tell me that would not be hard as a variant.
First thing I thought of was just Ice Cube with an eye patch playing his character from 21 Jump Street and just cursing the Avengers the fuck out 24/7. I would go for that.
Yeah.
If he was exactly like his character in 21 Jump Street, I'll buy Ice Cube as Nick Fury. That's the only way I'll buy that shit.
Oh, you're gonna love this. Cinema Space says bring back Ice Cube and Ghost of Mars too.
Shout out to Cinema Space Podcast, man. Anybody that's tuning into this, please tune into Cinema Space Podcast. Listen, that comment couldn't have came at a better time because today is what, the 20th or 20-something anniversary of Ghost of Mars. That is John Carpenter's most underrated film for me. I'm sorry. I fucking love it. I've been waiting on a sequel for Ghost of Mars since it came out. Man. Ice Cube he's not going to do that because he said he's going on record saying that he was so disappointed with that movie. He said John Carpenter let him down with the effects, and he said he's just not proud of it. He said he wasn't proud of it. I love that fucking movie. That was probably the first time I saw Jason Statham on screen.
I think it was the first time we saw most. I think it was the first time we ever saw Jason Statham. He did do 2 Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels, but that wasn't a hit over here in the States. Mm-hmm. But that was his American debut, though, in Ghost of Mars. That's crazy.
I'm like, God damn, man! You had Natasha Henstridge and Clea Duvall and what's his name? Pam Grier and God damn, what's that dude's name? Not David Carradine. Is it Robert Carradine? From Revenge of the Nerds?
Yes, Robert Carradine.
Yeah, Robert Carradine. And I know a lot of people don't know who Wanda de Jesus is, but I loved her in Illegal Tender. Frank says, is that good guy doll in the background from Spirit?
Yes, my mom actually bought this for me for my birthday. It was a late birthday present, and so she found this and ended up buying it for me. So like, here you go. My nickname growing up was Chucky. I used to
Was
have
it really?
like this fucking guy, and I used to have like really chubby cheeks, and so everyone would call me Chucky when I was growing up. So it kind of stuck for a while. But yeah, my mom's got that for me, man. So yeah, I had to put it in the background.
Oh, you know what else is movie news? Hellraiser got an R rating, and rightfully fucking so, because why would they rate it anything else? And it got a teaser trailer today. They didn't show
I saw
anything.
that looked hard, dude. That
I'm
looked
not gonna
hard.
lie. I couldn't even really, and I'm not even trying to be smart. It looked like Doug Bradley in the background, but that's the actress. I forgot the actress's name. That's
Jamie Clayton, I believe.
yeah, yeah. But I'm hoping that this teaser comes like tomorrow, because I gave up on Hellraiser 6 where they brought Ashley Lawrence back. But if they're gonna reboot this shit, no, I gave up on that shit. Fuck that shit. Fuck that
I
shit.
gave up after Bloodline, dude. After I saw Inferno,
That's
and
part
I'm
4.
like, fuck this franchise. Fuck this
I
franchise.
don't. People love Inferno, and I'm like, if I want to watch a sleazy fucking episode of CSI, I'll go and watch a sleazy ass, coked up episode of CSI. I fucking hate Hellraiser Inferno.
That ending was just such a big fuck you. And then also too, like you tried to, you didn't even hide the fact that you were trying to rip off Seven. You just didn't even hide the fact that you were trying to rip off Seven. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. And you know what bothers me the most is that wasn't even like that was the original script, but they shoehorned Pinhead in it. Like that was actually one of those spec scripts out there, and then they just like, oh yeah, let's just make it a Hellraiser movie so we can keep this licensing. Like, fuck you.
Frank said 3 was on the fence, and it was. I like 3 for how goofy it is. Like every Cenobite had their thing. Like I love 3 because it was just dumb as shit. And when I was a kid, I had a crush on the chick. What's her name? Tyra Pharrell. I had a crush on both those chicks. The chick that played Joey and the chick that played Terry. But Hellraiser 3
was Terry Pharrell, who played Joanne.
Yeah, and the other girl who played Terry, she was in. I don't remember her from much except she was in Warlock 2, I think.
You know,
and she was the girl that was smoking the cigarettes.
For the longest time, I thought that was Yancey Butler, dude. Swear to God.
Hold up.
I thought that was Yancey Butler. I did not know Joey was Terry Pharrell. That's crazy. That's on me. I should have did my homework on that.
Yeah. Yep. I called her Tyra Pharrell. That's the chick from Boys in the Hood. I'm tripping. Paula Marshall. That's her name. I should know this shit because I follow her on Instagram. So, JP, what's good, man? What's going on? Thank you for joining this. That's bro. You have to see. Big shout out to JP DeStefano, man. Y'all got to see. He was behind that Halloween Night. I hope I'm not getting that title wrong, but they've got a dope ass Halloween fan film, man. And it's some Easter eggs and that shit that had me. Hold on, let me make sure so I don't get this wrong and disrespect their fan film. Let's make sure it's right. Let's make sure.
Halloween Night?
Nah, it's hold up. I'm about to tell you in a second. Boom, Halloween Night. Yeah, it came out in 2020. Bro, if you have not seen it, just watch it. And JP's got he's got credits to, remember I was just talking about VFW. He's one of the I think they call them hypers. He's one of the hypers in VFW. Like the people that are running around trying to fucking kill everybody. And I didn't know that until I had reviewed it.
That's my uncle right there. What's up,
nephew John, please. Shout out to Elza Rod's nephew John. Big shout out to John. And JP, no problem for the shout out, man. Listen, if y'all ever do like a Halloween Night 2 fan film, just cast me and make sure I have a great death team. I'll do some acting. I'll do a little bit of acting. I'm trying to think of more. I got all this shit written down. Oh, Prey. Did you hear what the producer said about the Predator series? after the success of Prey.
What did he say?
He said that this is the producer of Prey. He said that he believes that the Predator franchise can go on for 100 years. You can take that how you want it. And I honestly, I don't disagree with him. I don't disagree with him. Being as though Prey was set in that period piece, they could do whatever the fuck they want with this franchise. Like, I think period pieces are definitely a good thing for that franchise. Somebody said that they should do a Predator prequel in feudal Japan and cast the guy that was... Uh-oh, what happened?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and this is the thing that kind of bugs me, right? Because the director has said that Prey was the first time that the Predator was ever on Earth. The first time.
Right.
And at that same time, feudal Japan is actually, like samurais and ninjas, like that's all it is, right? But by the time you get to the 1800s, that's all abolished. Like the samurais, all the other shoguns, the ronins, they're all abolished. There's no more samurais going on. So that's one thing too that kind of bugs me. Is like, you had the perfect opportunity to do it, but you fucked up by opening your fucking mouth and saying this is the first time that the Predator has been on here. Like, just shut up. Don't say that. You know what I mean? Just shut up. Don't say that.
I mean, they could retcon that and be like, oh, but the Predator had a brother that was here before then. Like, I don't know. Crossfaded 831 said, Prey, that last scene with the gun, that was a dope Easter egg that they threw in there. That was fire. And I almost didn't even recognize it, but somebody gave me the heads up and was like, yo, there's an Easter egg in there that you may or may not recognize. And as soon as I saw the gun, I'm like, yeah, that's from Predator 2. And I love that tie-in. JP says your review of Halloween Night was most entertaining. My wife and I loved it. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Man. I enjoyed Johnny. You got to see that fan film, man.
I have it up right now.
I'm telling you, the ending. There's like an Easter egg. It's not really an Easter egg, but it's kind of like blatant. But it's something they do at the end, like had me hype as shit at the end of my commentary because it's such a tie-in to where it's like, okay, this is in a certain continuity. So I love that shit, man. I love that shit. And they had some nice homages to the original too.
Halloween Night?
Huh?
Yeah. Right. Halloween Night.
Every time you say Halloween Night, I keep thinking you're saying Halloween 9. And I keep thinking to myself, like, we need a Halloween 9. We need a sequel to Resurrection. And we still need to do that. We still need to do that commentary in due time. Yeah.
I think we're gonna save that commentary for October. I think that's going to be one of our lives for sure. We're still in the midst of talking about that. But yeah, we're both going to get pretty fucking sloshed watching that.
Yeah, I'm telling you now, people, if y'all are tuning in, when me and Johnny decide to do that commentary on the live stream, I'm giving y'all a disclaimer now. I'm taking a fifth to the neck. I'm not using any shot glasses. I'm not using any cups. Halloween Resurrection that's a movie I can no longer watch sober. I can't do it. I want to see 1900-ish San Francisco, and CinemaSpace said you need Predator and Blade Runner. Ooh.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'd watch that.
Listen, we need like sponsors or something. We need people to tune into this and be like, you know what? We could use these ideas because the fans, like people like us, come up with way better ideas than the studios do. Like the majority of the time, we come up with way better ideas, and I don't understand why they don't just hire people like us. Hold on, what am I looking at? I think that was it for the news. Oh, all right, one more thing as far as the news goes.
Okay, what you got?
Everybody's favorite rapper, 50 Cent, had produced a horror movie, and it's called Skill House. They dropped the trailer last night. He didn't direct it, but actually, I'm going to look up and see who directed it. But it's called Skill House. And the best compliment I can give it is that it's relevant. It's about a bunch of influencers, social media influencers. They all wake up in body bags inside of this beautiful mansion. And the directions are keep your phone next to you at all times. you have to do certain shit to get a certain amount of likes, and the person with the least amount of likes and views gets killed. But they compared it to like Saw, because all these motherfuckers are in traps throughout the house. They start turning on each other to get the most views, and everything's being live streamed and all this shit. Josh Stolberg is the director of this. Now, I don't know what this motherfucker is.
Crossface. He wrote Kids in America, Good Luck Chuck, Sorority Row, Piranha 3D, Conception. He wrote
Piranha 3D?
Yeah, he directed Crossface, Feel So Good, and the Hangover Games. And then he also wrote the last two Jigsaw movies.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is that apart from? Oh no, Jigsaw and
Spiral.
I like Spiral, but Jigsaw, god damn it, man. Oh, he wrote Sorority Row.
Yeah, he wrote.
I like Sorority Row. I don't know if I'm alone. I like Sorority Row a lot, but that movie, there's no sense of urgency with those characters. Those chicks walk around like they see dead bodies every day. It's just like, oh shit, Mickey got killed. You want something to drink? Like they don't give a fuck. There's no urgency at all.
Yeah.
My friend was in the Hungover Games. The Hungover Games, is that spoof? Is that spoof? That I want to say it was a spoof. I don't know if it was Freebird.
It's a 2014 American parody film. The film essential plot primarily followed both The Hangover and Hunger Games.
The Hangover and the Hungover Games. I think I've seen it on like Tubi in passing, but I feel like Freeberg and Seltzer put such a bad taste in my mouth that I don't trust a lot of spoofs anymore, bro. I really don't.
We said Hungover Games. Frank Hungover. Hungover.
The Hungover Games. Okay, all right, my mistake. The Hungover Games. Yeah, I didn't see it. Like I said, Freeberg and Seltzer gave me PTSD because they just didn't stop. They did fucking Meet the Spartans. They did Date Movie. They did Epic Movie. They did Disaster Movie, and none of that shit was funny. None of it. So I gave up on spoofs a long time ago. I did watch Stan Helsing. That's like an under the radar spoof. It's not really good, but it's okay. It's not all that great.
I gave up on spoofs when I saw Hot Shots Part Dukes.
Damn, bro, that was like in '92.
Yeah.
So you didn't like any of the scary movies?
Like Scary Movie, like I thought the first Scary Movie was actually really decent, but when you do Scary Movie 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that shit's ass, dude. Like you're trying way too fucking hard, and it's not even relevant to what the first one was. I'm sorry. Scary Movie was actually probably one of the last good spoofs, parody movies. But other than that, I can't.
Yeah,
Frank said Basketball. I would agree there. That's a kind of a really good spoof on sports movies. That's actually a really good spoof movie on sports movies, I think.
In the defense of Scary Movie 3, there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me with this. Now, listen. I like Scary Movie 1. I like Scary Movie 2. When Scary Movie 3, first of all, they ain't shit because they advertised it like the Wayans brothers were still on board. They even had like it's a black dude on the front cover. One of the posters was a black dude on the front cover with an afro, and the signs from M. Night Shyamalan signs were cut into the back of his hair. But then when people found out they weren't a part of it, they were like, all right, we'll give it a chance. Scary Movie 3 is not anything epic, but it's not as bad as people say it is. I like David Zucker. It's just more slapstick. Like they substituted like all the crude and raunchy humor for just slapstick, Naked Gun airplane type of shit. Scary Movie 3 is okay, but then Scary Movie 4, I remember going to the movies to see that shit. And David Zucker just didn't give a fuck in that one. He didn't even try. And Scary Movie 5, like they tried to get it back on track. That shit's awful. I feel like they could get it back on track, but you would have to get the Wayans brothers back on it, and they're not going to do any more. They're not going to do any more of that.
Fucking the Weinsteins fucking stole that shit from them. You know what I mean? Much like how Fox stole In Living Color from them.
Cinema Space says Scary Movie 2 had too much studio interference. It did? I didn't know that. And Frank says, but that's the one where Chris Elliott has the gimp hand, though. Yeah, that's Scary Movie 2. Scary Movie 2 is the one with Chris Elliott. And Chris Elliott started popping up in a whole bunch of spoofs after that for no fucking reason at all. Him and Carmen Electra, that was just, I don't.
Because they were so entwined with the 90s at that time. Carmen Electra, you couldn't go anywhere without thinking MTV. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Carmen Electra
Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah, Carmen Electra is the B level Jenny McCarthy.
Jenny McCarthy.
But that's the truth. That's the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth.
Carmen Electra or Jenny McCarthy, I hope they don't tune into this video. I doubt they will, but and one more bit of news that I forgot. I had almost missed this point. We already talked about the Terrifier trailer. Insidious 5, ladies and gentlemen, has wrapped filming.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I do that on the stream? I meant to cover up the camera when I did this for fucking Insidious 5. I'm so fucking tired of it. Patrick Wilson's directing. Yippee. Yay. Nah.
After watching The Last Key, I'm done with this franchise.
You made it that far?
Yeah. I actually like the first two are actually really, really good. And then I didn't see the third one, which I think that one took place in the apartment. I didn't see that one. I saw The Last Key.
Hilarious.
I saw The Last Key, but I was like, fuck this movie. This movie's garbage. But then later that year, he dropped Upgrade, which was like, holy shit. How come you couldn't make fucking Insidious that fucking dope? Like, what the fuck?
Upgrade is underrated. It is criminally underrated. Upgrade, and a lot of people said this, Upgrade is what Venom should have been.
Yeah.
The Tom Hardy movie. I mean, you had Tom Hardy fucking 2.0 in Upgrade. That dude, I always thought that was Tom Hardy. Everything he's in Prometheus. He's in Brooklyn's Finest. I can't remember that guy's name. But
Green.
That's him. Yep. Didn't even have to look it up. That's him. But Upgrades, Flames. Lee Whannell pisses me the fuck off, man, because I expect so much more from him, man. Like, did you like when he directed The Invisible Man?
It had its moments, but it wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Like that diner scene was fucking awesome.
I love that shit. That's the best scene in the
fire, dude. That shit was fire.
That is the best scene. Because I was talking shit the whole movie, and I was doing commentary for it. But that diner scene, when that knife goes up into there, I was like, oh, shit. This dude's not fucking around.
Right her hand, like, oh, shit. Like, that
but the twist was like, for real? Like, I know we got to modernize everything, but that twist, I'm like, he's not even, it took away from I know it's supposed to be a reboot, but it took away from the whole idea of, what was it, Claude Rains that was in the original Invisible Man? Was it Claude Rains?
Yeah.
He was a mad scientist. This motherfucker was just, an optical dude. And he had a suit that made him invisible. That shit was weak.
He was Mark Zuckerberg getting back at his ex.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, we talking shit. Because you earned that joke.
Yeah.
You earned that joke.
Yep. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. You on this platform, so go ahead, motherfucker. Do it.
And then the end of it's like, she's pregnant and she's got the suit. So what are you going to be, the invisible suit woman? And the invisible suited baby? Like, nah, man. I liked it better when it was called Hollow Man. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that.
Damn.
Yeah, Hollow Man, and I say this all the time, was the last piece to the puzzle. We had the Dark Universe. Now, whether people like it or not, we had Robert Englund as the Phantom of the Opera. We had Robert De Niro as Frankenstein. We had Gary Oldman as Dracula. We had, and I don't like Arnold Vosloo's acting, but we had him as the Mummy. The 2000s were the last piece. Kevin Bacon and Arnold Vosloo, Invisible Man, the Mummy, and we had, Jack Nicholson as the Wolfman, the modern day Wolfman. We had it. I actually like Wolf.
I think I think people fucking shit on that movie unnecessarily. Like, come on, dude. Like, nah, that's actually kind of a funny, great movie. Honestly, it doesn't need to be 2 hours long, but you know what I mean.
It was 2 hours long because it was the Wolfman in modern day mixed with like corporate job bullshit. You know, like the whole angle with James Spader and Jack Nicholson fighting for Christopher Plummer's. You know, they were having like an ass kissing contest, and Jack Nicholson's wife cheating on him with James Spader, and the love interest Michelle Pfeiffer.
They also said that Plummer, like there was a rumor that they wanted Plummer to be Dracula. Like that was how they were going to tie in, because Plummer, I think he had the connection to the old franchises, and so they were going to make him Dracula in that, and so they were going to set up their own little universe.
In Wolf?
Yeah.
And I guess they threw him a bone because remember, he played Van Helsing in Dracula 2000.
Yeah.
He was Matthew Van Helsing in Dracula 2000. Frank says, or Benicio. If you're talking about Benicio del Toro as the Wolfman, I enjoyed that movie. I went back a couple months ago and gave it like a second go round, and I actually liked it. I think I gave it like a 7.5 or something, but it was a strong 7.5. I just don't like that they substituted practical for CG. I hated that shit. I fucking hated that. But Joe Johnston, it was all right. It was a slow burn, though. It was slow as fuck.
All right, you want to move on to our what have we been watching? You want to move on to our review?
Whew. Whew.
You want to just get this one out of the way?
Yeah, we can get it out the way, man.
We're gonna talk about they/them. I'm gonna be real. I'm just gonna say this right now, dude. This movie just does not work as a slasher, and it does not work as a horror movie. There are way too many connecting ideas in they/them that just don't connect. You have a really, really good premise here. A really good premise. And you drop the fucking ball because you don't know what to do with it. Like, if you Google conversion camps, you can read all the real-life horror stories from attendees. You know, and I'm not saying that you can take their stories and whatever and exploit it, but what I am saying is, like, when you try to use this as a slasher and none of the campers are in danger, only the counselors, it really takes the slasher portion out of it because there's really no one in danger in this movie. No one's in danger in this movie, and it's kind of a shame because there's a really good premise. There's a really good sequence. I don't want to say good sequence, but there's a really thought-provoking idea involving a television and a seat and a car battery that is intense. And I'm like, and you could have done more with that sequence than you could have done more with the fucking slasher one around with a Howard the Duck mask. Get the fuck out of here. And in certain lights, that fucking mask looked like a duck.
I kind of like the mask. I dug the mask a little bit, but I was like, okay, the fact that it's split down the middle and it's two sides, I'm like, is that like a nod to the title? I'm like, okay, we get it. But the mask was a little bit creepy to me. I give it points for the mask. I don't give it points for a lot of other shit.
And then also there's another good sequence when they have one of the kids try to shoot the dog. And again, you could have done more with stuff like that. Like, you could have slowly graduated into making these kids doing horrible things and then manipulate them in the same way and then do what you're going to do with them without involving the slasher. But at the same time, this movie, in short, let me just say it this way. In short, this movie would have worked better as if it was a Hostel movie, not a slasher movie.
Like a torture porn type of...
Yes, and you know, I don't want to see people tortured.
Like that could have been like a Hostel.
Yeah, but it's not like... That's not what I'm into. It's not what I want to see. But for, like, that story that you're trying to tell... That kind of genre would make much more sense, and especially with the juxtaposition of all these people and counselors that are just so polite. You know what I mean? Like, they seem like they're understanding and they're like, oh, hey, we get it. It's cool. You can just be here and just chill. And I think that's how that could have worked. It could have worked better to its benefit. Instead, they try to make it into like a revenge slasher, and yet it doesn't work. My lady had the balls to say this movie was Sleepaway Camp. I looked at her and said, "I want a divorce. I want a divorce. I want a
That
divorce.
is a
I'll keep the
bold
room because
statement, bro.
you built this up for me, but I want a divorce."
Listen, listen. I'm all for everybody fond and love, but I probably would have came to court if y'all got divorced. I'd have had your back. I'm rooting for y'all to stay together, believe me. But if you would have divorced her over that, I'd have been like, yo, I'm about to fly out there right now, and I got your back. I'm gonna be there for moral support because Sleepaway Camp. I saw Sleepaway Camp for the first time like late last year, and I love Sleepaway Camp. It's dope, but to compare it to that, it's a bold statement, man. They and Them is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen set at a camp. The movie just let me say this, man, and so I don't forget. I feel like this movie really played it too fucking safe, bro. They played it too safe, and like, okay, we know, for anybody that hasn't seen it, we know that it's at a gay conversion camp. We know that the characters identify as this and they identify as that. We understand the content, and we know it's like a touchy subject a little bit, and we're going to try to get these pronouns right as much as we can, but I feel like the transgender or the non-trans characters, whatever the case may be, I feel like somebody in the writer's room and the director was like, listen, we can't have a movie where we're just killing off transgender kids. We can't have that. But why even tease the slasher shit to begin with? You know what I mean? I feel like they played it too safe, and I feel like Blumhouse got a lot of flack for when they had Halloween Kills and they killed off Big John and Little John, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, they killed the gay couple, cancel Michael Myers." I feel like Blumhouse somewhere in that fucking board meeting, they were like, "Listen, this is going to be an apology to the LGBT community for killing off Big John and Little John. We got to do something that like I feel like that was it." And listen, don't get me wrong, Blumhouse is known for including that community. And I love it, man. That type of inclusion, I love that they don't feel left out and they have characters to identify with. But when y'all finally had it to have, for that community to have their own slasher movie, and like you said, they dropped the fucking ball on it. It is one of the driest, like, I'm not going to say it was completely predictable, but from the opening kill, I'm just kind of like, all right, man, like, this didn't set the tone for me at all. And there were characters that I was actually, like, the black kid, he's in one of the episodes of Atlanta. I don't know if you watch Atlanta, the show on FX with Donald Glover. Funny as shit, but he plays Justin Bieber in that show, a black Justin Bieber. It's like a surreal type of show, so he plays a black Justin Bieber. I liked his character. He was funny as shit. Like, there's a moment where he's handcuffed to the macho kid that's there, and they wake up after spending the night in the woods, and the macho kid like wakes up like he's like not afraid of him, but he's like, "What? I didn't do anything." And then the black kid looks at him, he's like, "Too late, I'm already pregnant." Like, I love shit like that. Like, they had little humor here and there. I love the let me be sure about these names. The Asian, or she's of Asian or Japanese descent, people. Y'all know I'm not trying to be smart. Monique
Veronica?
Kim. Yes, Veronica. Veronica was a cool character to watch. Theo Germain, who played Jordan, I knew Jordan was going to be the final character, but they wasted so much opportunity here, man. And Blumhouse does this shit a lot. And I feel like because they have the fan base that they have, they feel like they could just put out bullshit. And I hate that they do that, man, because Blumhouse is so much better than this. We've seen them put out great movies that are just standalone movies, not a part of any type of franchises at all. But they just throw shit out there, and it's just like, yeah, they'll eat this up because it's an LGBT slasher. It's not a fucking slasher movie. Like I said, if you would have took the slasher shit out of there, I would have respected the movie a lot more, a whole lot more, man. And shout out Anna Klumsky, man. I felt bad for her. Kevin Bacon, he's just getting a check. I knew like what it was with him, but Anna Klumsky, I didn't even know that was her at first. And
That's what my lady said. That's what my lady said about this. Like, no, Kevin Bacon's in, he's getting paid, so he's good.
He doesn't give a shit. Blumhouse called him and was like, Kevin, He's like, I'll do it. They didn't even say anything to him. He's like, I'll do it. How much? I'll do it. I don't give a fuck what I got to do. They said, Kevin, we want to take you back to camp. People, and they knew that was another thing that was going to reel people in. They were like, oh my God, Kevin Bacon hasn't been at a campsite since Friday the 13th. I'm on it. Like the whole bait and switch that Blumhouse did with this movie is so disrespectful, man. And I was into it. There were people that were like, oh, it's a part of this woke culture. I don't want to see it. I said, fuck that. As a straight black man, I want to see what they're going to do with this here. And I want to like this movie. I went into it wanting to like it. And the movie was just such a fucking dud, man. Just such a fucking dud. Wasted opportunity. The kills fucking suck. Yeah. All the kills were basically off screen.
Yeah, I even said to in my review, on my story, it's like, talk about pandering. Like, this movie does come off like you're pandering, like, to that community. Like, that's how it feels like. You know what I mean? It's like, it feels like they can't be victims. You know what I mean? They have to be part of the story, but yet they can't be victims. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just like, no, man, it doesn't work. Like, if you're going to do a slasher, you got to abide by slasher rules. You got to make sure that, look, man, everyone's in danger. At least give us a red herring that makes us think that they're in danger. At least, you know what I mean? Because that might would have upped the stakes a little, but I think this one was just a missed opportunity. Like, you swung for the fences and you hit a foul ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened. And look, man, if there's fans out there for them, please let us know in the comments. Let us know if you like this movie or not. I did not like this movie at all.
If you did like the movie, let us know what you liked about it exactly, because I'm fucking dying to know what y'all liked about this movie.
Yes, and you cannot say them breaking out in song, which I found was very, very cringy, man. Like, why would you do that? Why?
This fucking movie didn't know if it wanted to be Friday the 13th, high school fucking musical, Gone with the Wind. Like, they didn't know what the fuck they wanted to be. And this movie was more, what did I say, bro? This movie was more confused than the characters were in the fucking movie. And I'm not trying to be smart. Anybody that's out there tuning in, I'm not trying to be smart. We know that these characters were at a gay conversion camp. We know that they were confused as to what they wanted to be or who they were in life. This movie, they ain't got shit on this movie as a whole. They ain't got shit on Blumhouse trying to figure this thing out. They don't. Because Blumhouse didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
I would have loved it at the end. It had Jordan just shout both of them. And I would have been like, well, there you go. That pronoun wins. But then again, that's not the message. It's not what you're trying to say with this movie, and I understand that. But if you would have Jordan just blow them both away, it would have been like, yeah, there you go. I felt like that part would have redeemed the movie, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I give this a half a Z. It just wasn't for me. I'm just gonna be honest, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, that shit a 4.5 out of 10. Fuck that movie, man. I'm sorry. And just to be clear, again, and one of the reasons, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I was very hesitant to do like a green screen review. I'm glad I didn't do commentary for it, and I'm gonna be completely honest, because there were characters I wasn't sure what they were. So I'm glad that I watched it and then made my whole like assessment on that shit, because had I would have done commentary, I would have felt like I was like trying to, like offended some people. Yeah. And I've got like LGBTQ plus listeners. That's a big part of my listeners and shit. And I didn't want to be disrespectful. But I'm like, when I did that green screen, it probably took me maybe like 3 or 4 takes to do it, because I'm like, okay, I have to be very careful with what I say here. I'm not going to walk on eggshells, because anybody that listens to the show, they know how I am. But I was like, how can I say that this movie fucking sucked without being offensive? Because, if people tune in and hear us talking about this, you're going to get some people that are like, oh, well, what, you didn't like it because it was gay? You get those types of people. And it's like, no, it's not that. Just give me a movie that's not bullshit. We don't give a fuck if the characters are gay or if the characters are trans. Just don't sell us on some bullshit. That's all we ask. when we watch movies. Don't sell us on any bullshit. And that's exactly what Blumhouse did, man. And
Yeah,
I feel like
on some bullshit, and it's like
jeez.
you know, I don't know how to say this, but it's like you wanted to make something just to make something. It wasn't,
Yeah.
and also I can imagine that all the writers that wrote this movie thought like they did something very profound, but it came out very fucking dumb. Because when you have like people in their 40s and straight and white trying to write LGBTQ community, like it comes off like that's your perception of what they are. You know what I mean? Like they
This
don't feel like
director,
characters. And then the only one that was really a character was Jordan. Everyone else felt like a caricature.
I liked Veronica. I liked what's her name, Veronica?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I like Veronica. I like Jordan. I like the black kid from Atlanta. God damn. You know what was funny as fuck though? The Forbidden and people, this is exactly what they called the character in the movie. I'm not trying to be smart. They have one character that they called the Forbidden Fruit that the macho dude basically bit. You know, he bit the apple. The way that motherfucker was walking in the water like he was in like a Vidal Sassoon commercial or some shit like that, that was just too over the top. It's like that motherfucker had his shit tucked.
Like, dude, when that happened, bro, I was like, okay, calm down, Robert Pattinson. Calm down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, stop it.
He's
and
all
the funny
walking,
thing about
like,
this director,
out of the water. It's like, all slow and strutting, like he's on the catwalk. Like, oh my god, dude. Like, seriously?
Yeah, and the funny thing about this director, this motherfucker looks like Mark Patton. You know how we're talking about, like, the Community? He looks like Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Like, go on IMDb and look up John Logan from A&M. He looks like, this motherfucker looks just like Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2. He looks like Jesse. But this guy comes from a decent background. Like he wrote Skyfall, he wrote The Aviator, he wrote Sweeney Todd. You know what I'm saying? Like he comes from something. So for him to just do some bullshit like this, like he wrote Alien Covenant. I know a lot of people don't like Alien Covenant. I was just having this debate in like one of the Alien groups, but he wrote that. The Last Samurai, he wrote Gladiator. He wrote Any Given Sunday. Like, come on, man. He even wrote everybody's favorite When Animals Attack movie, Bats. Exactly. Nobody remembers Bats.
I remember Bats. You
remember Bats with Lou Diamond Phillips?
That movie was fire, dude.
You liked it?
I remember liking it when I watched it back in '99.
Yeah, that's when I remember seeing the trailer, and when that black dude opens up the diner door and all the bats are on the door hanging up, I was like, yo, this is gonna be fire. But looking back on it, those bats look bad, man. They look, when they're flocking together, they look dope.
No money, dude. Had no, like, oh my god, its budget for bats was $5.25 million.
Yeah, and they said, give me my change back. Disrespectful as shit. Imagine if they remade it though. I think they could do something with that concept. They made a part 2 of it. I think it was called Bats 2 Human Harvest or some shit like that. I never watched it. That shit went like straight to sci-fi or something like that.
Yeah. 2007 Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, no, I'm good. Anything that says fucking sci-fi on it, dude, I'm good.
I mean, look, Sci-Fi Channel gave everybody the Return of the Living Dead 4 and 5 back to back. They said, oh, y'all are going to love this shit. Let's completely ruin one of the best franchises of all time. Of all fucking time.
Yeah, well, so that is our review of They/Them. I know a lot of people left there because they probably fucking found our comments infuriating. We apologize again. We're not trying to offend anyone. We're just giving our honest opinion, you know what I mean? So the movie sucks. We're just going to say this movie sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's really bad. It's really, really bad, man.
But a movie that's really good is Orphan First Kill. Like, that movie was really good.
Nah. Somebody told me, and shout out to my boy Troy Lee, man. He said, "Yo, you should definitely do a drunk commentary for this." And I'm like, that shit, man. Listen, that movie was rough, and they even tried to make it look like a prequel. Like they had like some type of film over the camera to make it look like a prequel, and it's like we get it, man. This is before. Oh, Triple. What's good, Triple? That's my man, Triple. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're just talking our movie shit. Man. Are we still doing the New Line Blumhouse comparison?
Yeah. We'll do one more. What have we been watching, and then we'll go on to there.
And I forgot we got this. Do you have your ranking?
Yeah, I have my ranking. My ranking is gonna piss some people off.
This
man.
Ranking, brother. I'm trying to tell you, this ranking, this shit gonna get dark. This shit's gonna get dark. But we can do like the the Blumhouse and are they this generation's New Line cinema type of thing. That was I did some research and I don't think Blumhouse could hold it. I'm talking like franchise wise. New Line Cinema and Blumhouse are in two different tax brackets. Like I looked up all the franchise, not all of them, but the majority of like the successful franchises that New Line has, and god damn, they are caked up. They are super fucking caked up, man. Blumhouse has got some hits. They've definitely got some bangers for sure. But New Line got some shit, bruh. They've got some shit.
So I would say that I think in terms of what Blumhouse brings to the table, it's the same thing that New Line brought to the table in the sense of bringing low-budget independent filmmakers into the mainstream. And I think that were Insomniac writer 90, I believe, when she commented on your post, like Blumhouse is a new New Line and Dimensions. Shout out to her. She made a really good point because you know what? It is true because Blumhouse is this generation's Dimension and New Line.
Shoestring budgets.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the problem too, because with Bob Shea, you start to see some of those shoestring budgets affect the Elm Street movies a lot. You know what I mean? Like you see that shit affect those Elm Street movies. As in, like with Blumhouse, that's kind of the opposite. When you have like Insidious, you start seeing the budgets actually get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and they make the one thing I will always respect about Blumhouse, even the movies that aren't that great, they make their money back. Mm-hmm. Like they make their money back in return. Like I'm not sure if Truth or Dare made its money back, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Because Blumhouse, that's one of the reasons I was a little concerned when they picked up Halloween. Because I'm like, Halloween was a kind of an independent film for the most part. But the budgets get a little bit bigger as the movies go along. So I'm like, okay, are they going to scale it back? Are they going to, what are they going to spend the most money on? Are they going to spend the most money on the cast, the special effects, whatever the case may be? But Blumhouse, I will always respect them for making their movies cheap and, making that bank back for the most part. But,
you talk about franchises, like they have The Purge, they have Insidious, they have Paranormal Activity.
Yep.
They have Unfriended. They have.
Sinister. There's only 2 Sinister movies. They've got that. There's only 2 Ouija, 2 Unfriended. They've got those. Happy Death Day, The Gallows.
The Gallows is a franchise. I think that's a trilogy.
There's 3 of those.
I think there's 3 of those.
Fuck! I still didn't see part 2. I wanted to see part 2. They've got Creep. They've got Split and Glass.
No, so scratch that. They have 2 Gallows. 2 Gallows.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was about to say I got to get on. I was going to say I got to get on part 2 ASAP if they made a part 3 for sure. Then they got Halloween. They got Halloween. That's like their most recent franchise, even though they claim that they're wrapping it up. I don't know.
No, there was actually something that came out last week that Blumhouse said that don't be surprised if you see Michael Myers popping up somewhere else.
Yeah, because, and you know what? I can respect that. Like, they're going to gracefully bow out. Like, look, they're not going to bleed it dry, and I can definitely respect that because most motherfuckers will hold on to it. You see how long Dimension held on to Pinhead, That motherfucker went straight to DVD, and they still was not letting him go.
They
were
did
not
that
letting him
out
go.
of spite, though. That's the difference. They did that out of spite because they want to use that as
Dimension?
a tax write-off. Because who was controlling Dimension Films? He shall not be named.
We need to do a
Am
whole.
I wrong?
You know
Am I
how I
wrong?
did that. You know how I did that Tony Moran rant? We need to do that about Harvey Weinstein. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say his name out loud? Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Hopefully he's
You know what?
uncomfortable in prison.
Tony Moran gets a pass in comparison to how I feel about Harvey Weinstein. That's a whole different topic for a whole different time, man.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because Dimension Films had shit on lock at some point. Horror
Yeah,
movie wise,
they had like really good horror movies.
Yep.
They even brought like the French Extreme over to the States. They were the first ones to bring the After Dark series here. So Dimension Film, and they brought in script.
They had a hand in that?
Yeah, there was distribution, yeah, for some of the films.
You talking about like Tooth and Nail and Dark Ride and oh my god, what's that movie called where Borderlands and Crazy Eights. Crazy Eights. They had some gems, man.
Yeah, there were some
gems.
You had to go through some like fucking. You had to get through like 4 bad movies to get to one good movie, though, which was kind of fucked up because.
What is that one? Wicked Little Things with Scout
Taylor. I haven't seen that one.
It's like if you mix Children of the Corn with fucking like these kids were they were undead though. They were undead and the family moves to some fictional Pennsylvania town or some shit like that. And the kids are just fucking people up. It's like an undead version of Children of the Corn, but better than half of the Children of the Corn sequels that they came out with. That's what that is. That's another ranking we got to do, by the way.
Which ones?
We gotta eventually we gotta rank the Children of the Corn movies, bro. We have to do it.
God, don't even sit through those fucking movies, dude. I fucking hate Children of the Corn movies, dude. I think the third one was kind of cool. I think it was the third one. I can't remember. There was a scene where there was like an old lady trying to get her cat underneath her house, and it was on bricks, and all the kids surrounded the house, and they moved the bricks, and the house just fell on her.
That was part 2. That's my favorite one. That's the best in the series because that shit gave me what I thought I was getting with the first one. I think the first one's overrated. I do because it's so much of a slow burn. Yeah, man, it's slow as fuck. Then part 2, we open up with them finding the parents. The kids get shipped off into the town, and the kids just start wrecking shit. They killing everybody in the town. Part 3 was. Yeah, we got it. We'll figure that franchise out.
There's like 20 of those, so that's gonna be a long ranking. We need to figure out which ones we rank in.
There's a reboot coming, and I don't want it. I don't want the reboot at all.
Yeah, I'm not fucking with the reboot. Yeah, I don't know. I think New Line Cinema, Blumhouse, Dimension Films, they all bring something different to the table. I think Blumhouse at this point, Jason Blum, has just a really good idea on what his label is. You know? And I think he's smart because he's able to not only distribute his films through theatrically, but also to streaming services as well. Cut a deal with Peacock, so now like certain movies that he thinks he's gonna lose money out, like they slash them, he could just dump it on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, hold on, because my sound is. I don't know if you could hear my alerts going on just now, but my sound is just like it sounds a little bit muffled on my end. I'm trying to fucking tweak this shit for a second. You can hear me on this, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Clear off your notifications, and maybe that'll help out the sound.
Oh Lord, it's always something, man. Hold on, let me make sure. I don't even want to not X out of this, but I don't even want to check my sound and knock myself off of this live stream. And just completely fuck it up. Technical difficulties, man.
Uh,
Technical difficulties, people.
hang
That's
on.
all it is.
Okay, so what kind of phone do you have?
This is I don't know. This shit is like a Galaxy A11 or something like that.
So just go up and scroll down, and then hit clear on your notifications because it's either someone trying to call you or someone texting you. That's what's affecting the audio.
Yeah, I think it was because I just got a call that my audio is just. I can hear you, but it's like really like faint for the most part. I can definitely hear you though, but it does not sound like it's not like popping out, projecting like
Yeah.
somebody.
So yeah, you would have to either clear the call or clear the text message or your notifications. That's what's muffling the sound.
Now, hold on. This will still be going. Like if I leave out and then join back in, will it work?
Yeah.
All right. Give me like 2 seconds. Let me leave out and then join back in so I can get this fucking sound back.
All right.
All right.
Yo. So while Romero's fixing that, I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna react to the Pinocchio trailer. So I'm gonna see what this is all about right here. You talked about it earlier, so I'm curious to see. Let's see.
Present to you the eighth wonder of the world. The one and only Pinocchio.
Hello, Pops.
Jeepers.
Oh my fucking god.
Turn around, let me get a look at you. I will be right here when you get back. Pinocchio is running around loose without a conscience. Can you imagine the trouble
Damn.
we're gonna get into? Wouldn't want that on my conscience.
Boom.
Who's that?
You back at it.
Yo.
Yeah, I heard you saying you were going to react to the Pinocchio trailer. I just pulled it up on YouTube.
Okay. So
Did you watch a little bit?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. So let me know when you press play. We'll react to it together.
All right, hold up. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to hit pause so there's no, like, ads or nothing, so we can just jump straight into it.
All right.
All right, hold up. Let me, Damn, people, look at that. We're making shit up as we go. We're doing joint trailer reactions and everything. We do this, man. All right, hold up. It's an ad that you cannot skip. All right, so, yeah, I'm ready to... I got all the ads out the way. I'm ready to let's just react to this shit, bruh.
Okay. 1, 2, go.
Do it.
I present to you the eighth wonder of the world.
Is he CG on the strings?
Look like it.
Zemeckis is gonna have people crying with this shit.
Yes. Wait a minute. That's coming out to Disney Plus? That's kind of fucked, dude. Honestly, if that's going straight to Disney Plus.
I'm not gonna lie. I was excited for this. And I don't know if they're going to fix a lot of the effects in post production, or if this shit's already done. Like if it's done,
yeah, it's done. It's done. Comments are turned off.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like I wanted this trailer to be like I get choked up because when I think of Tom Hanks and Robert Zemeckis getting back together again, it's like, damn, Forrest Gump, Castaway. But this shit, I mean, it's look, this makes me want to go finally watch the Jungle Book live action, the Lion King live action, Aladdin live action. And even the Dumbo live action. I haven't seen any of those, but this is like
Dumbo live action. Not worth it. The circus scene kind of lives up to it.
Where he flies for the first time?
Yeah, where he starts tripping balls.
Oh my god. Dumbo starts tripping balls?
Yeah, when he drinks the water, right, and he thinks it's water, but it's really alcohol, and he starts tripping balls, and he starts seeing the pink elephants.
Oh, well, no wonder, because that's a fucking Tim Burton movie. Tim Burton did Dumbo, so he's got to go acid, full-blown acid trip at some point. That's actually making me want to watch it. Isn't Danny DeVito in that shit, too?
Yeah, he's the head circus, the guy that runs the circus.
This trailer, though, man, this wasn't really, like, what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't all that good. I'm not even going to hold you, bro. And I'm kind of glad I didn't do a trailer reaction for it, because I was just telling you the trailer had dropped and all that other shit when we started the stream, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, maybe my daughter will be into it, but other than that, I don't know. I don't know about this one.
I'm now actually looking forward to the Del Toro Pinocchio version instead of this one.
At least we know it'll be a little bit darker for the most part.
Yeah.
This Del Toro, he'll put something into it. I don't know about this shit, though.
Yeah, Disney's been swinging and missing with all those live actions, though, man. A lot of those live actions are not hitting. They're just not. Like,
I mean, when they'll hit a home run if they do. And I said this at the end of my commentary for this movie. If they get Dan Trachtenberg to direct the live action Pocahontas after doing Prey, tell me it wouldn't work. Tell me it wouldn't work.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
I could totally see that. That probably the only way that'll work. Probably the only way that's gonna work.
Disney, and I get it. They look like they put a lot of money into this shit. Okay, cool, and it looks very magical. But god damn, I get it that it's based off of a cartoon and a book, and it's fantasy. I understand, but god damn, the CG is not blended well with the live action at all, yo. It's not. It's like we're too far into the future for this shit to still look like this.
But it's also going straight to Disney Plus, though. So I think that's also part of the reason where it's like, oh, this is going straight to streaming, so it doesn't really matter.
Disney, get your shit together, man.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Like, I would expect this would be out for Christmas. Like, this would make a great Christmas movie. You know what I mean?
And honestly, regardless of how we feel, it would have made a killing over the holiday season at the box office. Even if it underperformed, it would still make good money during the holiday season. That is a perfect fucking point you just made, yo.
You know what I mean? The only real competition it has is Avatar. Real competition it has over the holiday season.
This shit would get slaughtered at the box office because people have been waiting for Avatar since 1902. They've been waiting on that shit. And I'm not gonna lie, that trailer made me want to see Avatar 2. And I'm not a big fan of that first movie, but that Avatar Way of Water trailer looks fucking amazing. It looks so good, man. So good.
Did you hear that? That James Cameron doesn't know if he's going to come back and direct the other two sequels? After all that, he doesn't know if he wants to come back and direct the other two movies? Like, are you
You know
serious,
what,
dude? Like,
man?
after all that shit, you're not going to come back and direct the other two? What the fuck?
You know when my beef started with James Cameron? It wasn't even him. It wasn't even him directing anything. My beef with James Cameron started when he was promoting Terminator Genesis, and they do like this. They do like this featurette where he's just gassing this movie up, and he's like, you know, I made the first two Terminator movies, but this is something different, and I start to see things change up. You know, when they look at the 1984 sequence, and I'm like, oh, this is something really good and really different. It's going to reinvigorate the series. And it's like, bullshit, motherfucker. They paid you to say that. They had a fucking big ass cue card with his check amount written on it. Like I fucking, like, James Cameron's such a hype artist, man. Like, if you're going to come back to direct something, then direct another fucking Terminator movie. Like, come on. You're not going to get better than part 2, but just do that. Just do that. And then for him not to come back for Avatar, he said when the first movie came out, he said, listen, I've got parts 2 through 18 on a disc, on Laserdisc. I've got the whole world of Pandora laid out on this Laserdisc. Fuck. Oof. I'm not going to say that because we don't want to burn any bridges with James Cameron. I'm still trying to be in E.T. Part 2. Wait, he didn't even do E.T. Who the hell was that? Steven Spielberg?
Yeah, Spielberg. Oh, Spielberg.
God damn. Blasphemy. I know. I'm talking blasphemy
That's
right now, man.
terrible, man. Confusing
I know,
Cameron with
I know.
Spielberg? What's wrong with you, man?
Wait,
Your
who
movie
you like
card
better
right
out
now,
of the two?
dude. Your movie card's just been revoked.
Who do you like better out of the two? Like, who makes better movies out of the two? James Cameron or fucking Steven Spielberg?
Spielberg. I gotta go Spielberg.
Yeah,
Cameron's
Spielberg.
too inconsistent. He's like, he can have like a great movie and then he'll fucking direct shit. You know what I mean?
Spielberg makes movies that are tear jerkers.
I think Spielberg is just a better filmmaker. I think Cameron is a better visual artist, but I think Spielberg is just a better filmmaker overall. I mean, look at Jurassic Park, look at Saving Private Ryan, look at E.T., look at Jaws. Like, there's like so much like variety there.
Spielberg's scope is much broader than James Cameron's for me. Yes. I would pick Spielberg too. Like James Cameron, James Cameron. First of all, Terminator movies. That cements him for me. But Spielberg, he's got too many bangers under his belt. Too many.
Yeah, look, man. He's like did Piranha 2, Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, T2, True Lies, Titanic, Ghost of the Abyss, Aliens of the Deep, and Avatar.
Piranha 2, The Spawning?
Yeah, he directed that.
That was James Cameron?
Yeah, that was one of his first features under Roger Corman.
Humble beginnings, man. God damn. That makes me think of like, I love that shit though. Whether the movie, I never saw it, but whether the movie was bad or not, I love that we can sit back and say, James Cameron, one of his first movies was Piranha 2. One of Peter Jackson's first movies was fucking Dead Alive. Like, I love that shit. I love that shit.
Gotta start somewhere, dude. Gotta start somewhere.
I hate that they kind of turn their backs on the genre, though. Don't forget where you came from.
James Cameron doesn't direct a whole lot of films. He's much more of a screenwriter. He's much like Matt Reeves in that he only has like a handful of films, but when he does direct, it's like a big fucking deal. You know what I mean? So,
Reeves.
The last movie he directed was Avatar, 2009. Before that, Aliens of the Deep in 2005.
I never even seen that shit or heard of it, I don't think, until tonight.
It's a documentary that he co-directed with Stephen Quayle.
Stephen Quayle. That name sounds so familiar. I think that was the director of Final Destination 5, if I'm not mistaken. Hold up. Let's be sure. I don't want to... Yep. I know. I like that guy. I like that guy, Stephen Quayle, even though he's not coming back for Final Destination 6.
The guys that did what is this? It's They directed one of those Hulu episodes. I can't remember which one it was. It was a Christmas episode with the Broken Lizard guys.
The Club
With
Dread
Julian
dudes.
Chan. Do you remember that one? Hold on.
I don't know. Yo no sé. Yo no sé.
Because those
I
are
know
the guys that
Broken
were going to
Lizard.
do it next.
Talking about, wait, are we still talking about Final Destination 6?
Yeah.
I know John Watts is producing it. The guy that was behind like No Way Home and all of that type of shit. So if John Watts is behind it, it's probably a fact that we're going to get the best Final Destination in the whole franchise. John Watts isn't directing it, but if he's producing it, yeah. That shit's going to be flames. Certified flames.
Yeah, it's not on here. I know that he was on there. I'm gonna have to look that up. Hold on. But yeah, I can't remember what that fucking movie was called though. But okay, whatever. You want to move on to our rankings? Okay, so we're gonna do our Friday the 13th rankings from worst to best. There are 12 of these fucking movies. And this one right here, this one might get a little bit heated. We kind of agreed for the most part on Elm Street.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm not so sure that we're going to agree on any of these.
Bro, I feel like this shit's about to get dark, man. I was writing this list out a couple days ago, and I was just shaking my head. I'm like, yo, this shit is going to be something else, man.
Yeah, I got some controversial ones, man. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. That's why we're here. I love it. I love it, man.
I kicked it off last time, so why don't you kick us off at number 12, man?
Woo! I kick it off at number 12 now. My least favorite, my number 12 in my Friday 13th ranking is Jason Goes to Hell. I know, bro. Johnny's like, listen.
Already. All fucking ready. Already.
Listen.
Seriously, number 12? That's
gotta hear me.
The worst in the franchise. Okay, go ahead.
Hear me out. Now, in the defense of Jason Goes to Hell, this movie has one of the best or the best final guy in the franchise. This movie has one of the best characters in the franchise with Creighton Duke. This movie has the best kills and the best special effects, shout out to K&B, in the franchise. One of the best kills in the series with that tent kill. And I can appreciate how funny this fucking movie can get. This is one of the Friday the 13th movies where they know that they're trying to be funny from start to finish. And the humor fucking lands from the moment that coroner is talking shit on that tape recorder when he's doing Jason's autopsy to the moment, to the diner sequence, you know, the slow motion dramatic diner sequence. This movie's humor lands for me, but that's as far as I go. Oh, and there's high stakes. There's very high stakes with a baby involved, you know, Jessica's baby. That's as far as I go with this movie. This fucking movie, man. You remember seeing that cover when we back in the day. You remember seeing that cover, Jason's mask chromed out with a fucking worm, a demon worm crawling through it, fire in the background. I remember seeing the first cover that I saw for it was the unrated version. So looking on the back of it, you just randomly see the FBI agent with a gun in her hand with blood on her, you know, on her stomach. You see, I think Pookie like laying on top of the stove all burnt up. You see a lot of shit on that back cover, and I couldn't wait to watch this movie. And I remember in the beginning, I'm like, yo, like they just blew Jason up. So where the fuck do we go from here? But when that dude eats Jason's heart, I remember thinking like, I don't know what we're doing here. And Jason, like when he goes from body to body, his reflection is still intact, but his body isn't. He jumps from body to body, and then when the one body transfers the little worm shit, he melts. I do love that scene. That shit was badass and that shit was nasty. But this movie, this is the most misleading entry in the franchise, even more than A New Beginning. And I get it. A New Beginning, you can't make that comparison because Jason's not in it. This movie does have Jason, but he's only in 2 sequences. And they did Kane Hodder so fucking dirty in this movie. And I feel like they knew it so much so that they gave him a cameo as a SWAT team member. This fucking movie, man, it's just not a Jason movie. Like, had they would have took Jake, the first and last act, out of this movie and made it like a possession film. You know how you always talk about the movie The Hidden?
Yeah.
If you would have gave me something like that, or even did like The Hidden 3 or some shit, because I think there's 2 of those movies, I would give it a pass. This is one of those movies, like we just reviewed They and Them. This is one of those movies where it's false fucking advertisement, man. Just like Jason Takes Manhattan. At least Jason was in Manhattan for the last act of the movie. Jason did not go to hell until the last part of the movie. And I just, this movie is so fucking frustrating to watch, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a guilty pleasure. I can't stay away from it. But every time I watch it, I'm just like, and fuck Adam Marcus, man. I don't care if I burn any bridges with that dude. Fuck Adam Marcus, because you listen to the commentary, and Adam Marcus, when those lights are coming out of Jason's body, he says in his own fucking commentary, he's like, yeah, we didn't even know what this was. We just thought it was cool. What? He admits that shit. He admits that shit. Space Liberace
fucking lighting you up in the comments.
Jason did go to hell. So I really don't consider that as a sin as far as this movie goes. And I mean, the first Friday the 13th wasn't really a Jason movie either. It wasn't. It wasn't. Listen, if you love Jason Goes to Hell, then, you know, God bless you. I hate this movie, but it's not unwatchable. But every time I watch it, I'm just more and more taken aback. Like, I feel like Adam Marcus was that motherfucker that was like in the freezing cold, like outside of Paramount, like, can I please direct the Friday the 13th movie? I'm fresh out of film school. And Sean S. Cunningham was like, all right, man, he called up Frank Mancuso and was like, yo, man, like, come get this young boy and let him do a Jason movie. We don't know what we're doing. God damn it, man.
To be fair, it was Bob Shea, not Frank Mancuso.
Yes, it was. Because it was the first time. It was New Line Cinema. It was when they snatched up the franchise. You are right. I stand corrected, sir. I stand corrected. You know what, Bob? You know what? Before I wrap up, because I want to know what your number 12 is. Before I wrap up, I will give Jason Goes to Hell the utmost respect. That is one of the best horror movie endings ever. I remember my heart almost stopped when Freddy's glove came out the ground and grabbed Jason's mask and pulled it underground. I wish I was a fly on the wall in '93 when that ending happened, because I know it was probably the same type of reaction when Jamie Lee Curtis cut Michael Myers' head off. I know it was just a rowdy ass theater moment, and I wish I was there for that. That's one of the best endings I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know. When I was in the theater for H2O when Laurie chopped Michael's head out. When Laurie chopped Michael's head off, it wasn't a rowdy crowd. They were like, "What the fuck?" That was the fucking reaction when that happened. So
I would have been salty as shit, because I'd have stood up like, yeah, and I just looked around like, damn, like I'm the only one. Okay, I would have sat right back down.
Yeah, all right, cool. I'm
waiting for everybody to leave. Like, no, but we can get to your number 12, bro. I'm sorry, I almost went on a whole tirade just now.
My number 12, Freddy versus Jason.
Ooh, I like it the way you think, sir.
Yeah, so I gotta be consistent. If this is number 8 on my Elm Street, it's gotta be my number 12. So I gotta be consistent. So, you know, this movie, yes, it is a fun movie. I don't disagree with that, but again, my reasonings may be irrational, rational, whatever. No Kane Hodder, fuck Ronnie Yu. That's all I'm gonna say, because Ronnie Yu fucked this movie up.
God damn it, bro.
Fuck Ronnie Yu, man. Like, I fucking hate that guy for fucking doing this shit. And Monica Keena has no business being a final girl. She doesn't.
I mean, shout out to Monica Keena. I loved her in Dawson's Creek. I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
And, you know, her titties have a mind of their own when she's running in slow motion with the fucking torches and shit. She's just like she's auditioning for Baywatch or some shit. Space Liberace said, "Ronnie, you is my boyfriend." Listen. When you go home to Ronnie tonight, tell him Bride of Chucky will give him a pass on it, but Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, I do enjoy the movie. It's entertaining, but the more you go back and watch it, the more flawed it is. That's my number 11, by the way. So we're right there. Yeah, we're right there. We're right there. So we can tear that shit to shreds together if you want. Okay. We pretty much feel the same way about it because we talked about this when we did our Nightmare on Elm Street ranking. Ronnie Yu was not the guy for the job. I agree wholeheartedly with that shit, bro. I do, man.
Yeah, he was not the guy for the job. Jason X, my number 11. I can't deal with Uber Jason. I just can't deal with that. Like, that to me is like. Also, the design of Uber Jason just looks stupid. Just looks dumb. I don't like the fucking Mighty Ducks fucking face mask on him, dude. Like, that looks fucking stupid. Like, why? Why would you do that? And then watching it on the commentary with Todd Farmer and the writers, man, is like they tear that fucking movie to shreds. Like, dude, this is not what we want. This is bullshit. Yes, it does have like a really cool kill with the nitrogen.
Yeah, that is a really cool sequence in the franchise.
Yeah, I can't. I'll give it that. But like, Jason in space, like, no, dude. You saw Bloodline and thought, hey, this would be a good idea. Let's make Aliens with Jason. Which probably
did Leprechaun in Space come out before that or what?
No, it came out 3 years after.
Okay, yeah, and like honestly, we can tear that shit apart because Jason X is my number 10. We're on something here. Yeah, that's my number 10. But Jason X, let me rest in peace. Shout out to Jim Isaac, the director. But I don't trust Todd Farmer as a writer. I don't, man. I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. I don't trust Todd Farmer as a fucking writer for horror. Like, I don't like My Bloody Valentine 3D, and I don't like what he did. Have you ever read the script that him and Patrick Lussier did for Halloween 3D? It was going to be Rob Zombie's, the sequel to Rob Zombie's. Terrible. It's one of the worst fucking horror scripts I've ever read, and I've written some bad shit in my lifetime. But I don't trust Todd Farmer as far as I can fucking throw him, and he's a big dude. But Jason X, I respect it because Jason X, Space Liberace said, "Are we counting down our worst horror movies?" We're counting down. We're doing our Friday the 13th franchise ranking from worst to best. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, he said My Bloody Valentine 3D was such ass. Goddamn. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was an adult version of a CW show.
Yes, and it just so happened they got Jensen Ackles non-acting ass in that movie. I can't. He's that scene where he's in the car with Jamie King and he's just like, "You've got to trust me. You've got to trust me because I can't act worth a damn." I fucking hate his acting, and people kiss his ass because he's in Supernatural and he's in the
Winchester.
Jensen Ackles is one of the worst actors I've ever seen, man. I don't like him. Todd Farmer is responsible for getting him in that movie because he wrote that shitty ass role. And Todd Farmer had no business putting himself in Jason X. You know, he's trying to act hard as shit in that scene. Like, he is trying his dramatic acting. When that scene, when him and Azrael are getting attacked by Jason, he's really trying to act. And it's like, bro, this is fucking Jason X. Like, you got to pull it back a little bit. You're not getting an Oscar for this. Jason X, I will give Jason X this. Lexa Doig is fine as hell. And I loved seeing her in the Chucky series, but she's not a great final girl, but I liked her. And
that's the droid, right?
No, Lexa Doig is the main girl. God damn, I can't remember her name, but Lisa Ryder was KM, the android. I like Lisa Ryder too. It was kind of overkill when she starts fucking Jason up, but somebody had to do it because those people were stupid. You figure if Jason X is so far into the future, we would get smarter characters. These people are dumb as fuck in that movie. They're stupid. And then you get Peter Menza. I always call him Tony Todd 2.0. Peter Menza, you know, he's Brodsky, but they didn't really do anything with him. And I do like the scene where Jason's like in the darkness killing off all the grunts. that was probably the first time in a long time we had Jason sneaking around and like murdering people one by one. But Jason X is stupid and is dumb fun. But as far as like the ranking goes, it's my number 10 because like we knew we couldn't take shit seriously in that movie. And I agree with you, bro. I gotta say, I've never, like, maybe when I was younger and it came out, but the older I get, the more I hate the design of Uber Jason. I don't. It just looks so fucking cheesy. And then watching the behind the scenes of how they make the costume, it makes me look at it even more and more cheesy and like it's even more fake. So I like, yeah.
Like if you Google the Mighty Ducks cartoon and look at the mask, and then Google Uber Jason and put them side by side, you cannot tell me that is not the Mighty Ducks mask. You cannot tell me that it's not. I'm just saying.
I mean, and honestly, would you have rather had Jason and, you know, they had, the ideas were Jason in the snow, Jason in Africa, Jason in space, and it's just like, damn, you motherfuckers clearly running on fumes at this point. After Jason, what was that? Jason Goes to Hell. They just were like, we don't know where to take this motherfucker. We don't know what to do with him. Jason was going to be in the hood at some point. Like, come on, man. Like, stop it. Cut the shit.
Space Liberace says, the movie came out when I was in high school, and let me tell you, my demographic then had no discerning ability. It's talking about My Bloody Valentine. I feel like I was being an asshole and hating everything, but no, it was just fucking terrible in hindsight. I seen those shirts, Mighty Ducks jersey with Jason shaking my fucking head. Jason Goes Back in Time, which was another one. Jason Back to the Future.
Yeah, they fucking, you know, Doc Brown and Marty McFly, they find Jason's body and they're trying to like transport him somewhere and they accidentally hit 88 miles per hour and shit. And they end up like somewhere in time with Jason. If it was a straight up comedy, I'd watch that shit. Just bring Crispin Glover back. And then we're breaking the fourth wall because he was in part 4. We might be on something here.
Yeah, we might be on
something. New line.
My
Platinum Beans, man. Throw us a bone.
My number 10, Jason Takes the Ferry. I mean, Jason Takes Manhattan.
God damn, bro. We gotta do this back to back because that's my number 9.
That's your number 9?
We here. That's my number 9.
Okay. Yeah. Jason Takes Manhattan is just not that good, and understanding why they didn't do Manhattan because due to budget reasons, the whole movie was actually supposed to take place in New York, but due to budget reasons is why they couldn't do it. Instead, they opted for a fucking boat. I'd rather would have just fucking have him fucking slashing the New Jersey Turnpike at this point. I don't want to see him on a boat. Like, that's just fucking stupid. Like,
hey, listen, people. Listen, we have nothing against New Jersey. We have no. Well, listen.
But that's where the camp is. Damn. The camp is in New Jersey.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The camp is in Jersey. The camp is in Jersey. The
actual so
camp where it was filmed is in New Jersey. So I feel so
bad for Rob Hayden. I feel so bad for him. Have you ever heard his commentary?
No.
For Jason Manhattan? I'm going to send it to you. It's literally just him, and he is so depressing to listen to because he's talking about everything he had planned for this movie and everything Paramount and Frank Mancuso would not let him do for this movie, bro. And it's so fucking painful to listen to. And Rob Hayden he's not innocent in this shit, by the way, because he wrote and directed Jason Takes Manhattan. And I feel like because he worked on the TV series, that's why you get all of this weird, mystical, magical bullshit in there. Like, why the fuck is there zombie Jason ghosts? Like, why is the blood, there's water that turns into blood out the faucet. Jason pops out and he's Asian. He pops out the mirror and chokes Rennie. Like, why is she having hallucination? It would have been more believable if Rennie was just high as fuck throughout the whole fucking movie. Like, she's hallucinating and shit. Jason blatantly teleports in this movie. Blatantly. No fucks given. He'll look up and he'll just pop up and just kill somebody. Space Liberace says, that boxing scene, though, laughing my ass off. Yes. Highlight. That is a highlight for me.
That is a highlight. That's probably like the best thing in that fucking movie is that sequence. But yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan, man. Like, I just can't, like, You know what, man? It would have been better if it was just daylight, like the movie Daylight, where like the tunnel, the Jersey
Oh my
Turnpike just
god!
crashes in, and all these students are stuck in there, and Jason happens to be coming out from the sewers, and then he's slashing them. That to
I'd
me
watch
would have
that.
been much more fucking reasonable.
I would watch that though. I would
Yeah,
watch that,
I would
and
watch that too. That'd be fire. That'd be fire.
the sewer sequence. You just reminded me. There is a sewer sequence at the end of that movie that still doesn't make any fucking sense, but they blew it. Like you had a really great setting that for me was better than the boat in New York. That
Yeah.
sewer. They could have had Jason in the dark just running around killing people, and they couldn't get out, and they had to get out before all that sludge and sewage, just flooded everybody in. They had a bunch of missed opportunities in that fucking movie, man. They did. I do like I like the scene with Julius boxing Jason, one of the best token black guys ever in a horror movie. And for some reason, and Kelly Hu was in there. I like Kelly Hu in that movie.
Shout out to Kelly
But
Hu, man. One of her first roles.
It was, yep. And I love, for some reason, even though they didn't do shit with his character, and he's only got like 6 lines in that movie, give or take, Gordon Curry. I don't know if you know who Gordon Curry is. The only reason I'm familiar with this motherfucker is because when I was a kid, I used to rent Puppet Master 4 and 5 a lot. And
he's the kid? He's the adult?
he's the guy who's controlling the puppets in part 4 and 5. Gordon Curry was the guy who was, he's climbing up on that ladder in Jason Takes Manhattan, and Jason throws him onto the cables, and he gets impaled like through the side. They were supposed to do a lot more with his character, but Rob Hayden says in the commentary that they chopped it down. Like he was supposed to be aspiring to be an Olympic swimmer. He was the best in school. So that's one of the reasons why, like, I think he was supposed to dive off the boat and swim at some point, but they didn't do shit with his character. And I like the character of JJ. I feel like they underused her. Like, I loved her look. She looked like she should have been on like Gem and the Holograms or some shit. I love that character of JJ. And I liked Wayne because anybody with a camcorder at some point in a horror movie, I'm rooting for you. I don't give a fuck if if you're a nerd or not. I was rooting for the geek to get the girl, but Tamara was a fucking whore in that movie. She was a whore. I'm sorry. I know that actress passed away. I'm so sorry. I think she passed. I'm not sure. Let me look it up. But yeah, missed opportunity, bro.
Yeah, totally missed opportunity. So yeah, I don't. So that's my number 10. So that's your number 9.
Yep.
Okay, so my number 9 is.
I'm curious. I'm curious about your next one, man.
My number 9 is Friday the 13th 3D.
Ooh!
Yes.
Blasphemy.
Yes, but I have a very good reason why it's number 9. I have a very good reason, and it's because of the way that it's seen and the way that it's shot. The movie is shot in 3D, and this is not a movie that you can watch at home. It's not, because you need to watch this in 3D in a theater with a crowd in order to fucking enjoy this movie. That is the only way that you could enjoy this movie. This is a party movie. You know what I mean? Like, I think we talked about this like a couple weeks ago about like, there's certain movies you show, like New Nightmare is not the movie you show at the party. You know what I mean? You would show them Dream Master and Dreamers. 3D is the movie you show at the party. You know what I mean?
I can agree on that. I can agree on that.
Intro music. It's like the titles are popping out at you. And it's just a fun movie. It is. It's a really fun movie. But watching it by yourself, it is not that enjoyable. It is really not that enjoyable when you watch it by yourself. You have to watch it with a crowd. And that's why I have to knock it down, because this is a movie that it doesn't have rewatchability by yourself. You have to watch this with a crowd. Like, you just have to. And you have to see it in 3D in order to really experience what this movie is. You know what I mean? And
damn, bro.
So that's why it's number 9. It's not one of those movies where you can be like, oh, this is only playing in 3D. Like, no, you can't, because you would need a couple of friends and some beer to watch this movie in order to really enjoy it. Because that's the way that this movie was filmed, and that's the way that you're supposed to watch it. You're supposed to watch it with a community of people.
I can dig that, but god damn, bro, I did not expect 3D to be. Jesus Christ, man. Because you know why? Because I know we have a lot of unpopular opinions between the two of us, but it's such a, like, that's like some people's favorite in the franchise. Not mine, but that's a lot of people's favorite. And I get it because that's the first time Jason gets his mask. The whole spectacle of the 3D shit has got some dope ass kills. But god damn, bro, you gave that shit shaft.
Yeah, dude.
Damn,
3D is not as memorable as most people think it is. It is just the most fun when you watch it with other people. It is not fun when you watch it by yourself. Because I watched it, like, I think when on lockdown, when I got the box set, that was one of the movies I turned on. And I was like, I am not digging this movie. Like, I'm not digging this movie. Like, I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it. So,
God.
That is my number 9, 3D, man. I'm sorry, but, it is what it is, man. 3D is not that great of a movie.
I feel like I'm going to get flack for the next one, my damn self. All right, so I did my number 9 was Jason Takes Manhattan. So my number 8 is the 2009 remake. That's my number 8, man. And I don't hate this movie at all. I've got gripes with the movie. Like, one of my biggest gripes with the movie is every Friday the 13th, like even the worst ones, they've got memorable characters. They've got characters where you might look at, like me personally, I might look at a Crispin Glover. I might look at, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I might look at an Eddie from The New Blood because he was coming up with story ideas. I might look at a character in a Friday the 13th movie and be like, you know what? There's something there that I can kind of relate to. Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake, there's no character that I can relate to in that movie at all. Not even the black dude, because while I like the sequence where he runs into Jason, they don't do shit with him. They don't do anything with him but give him a bunch of slang that they wrote in there when he's like, yeah, my boy's still out there. I'm starting a music label. And the rest, it's like, okay, man, like, goddamn. And the characters, they're not that memorable. And one of the things I don't like about that movie is I feel like they pulled back on the kills. The kills could have been so much better. Marcus Nispel, is it Nispel or Nispel? People know I suck at these last names, but the director for that, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you get a pass because that movie, everybody thinks it's the goriest movie ever. There's not a lot of gore in that original, so he didn't have to put that movie, the remake he did succeeds without being gory. It's all implication at the end of the day. But you finally get a remake where you can go as crazy as you want with these kills. That's what the franchise is known for. And the kills are kind of just okay. There's not really...
If you watch the unrated one, they do take a step further.
What, with the
remake?
Chainsaw or Friday the 13th?
The remake of Friday the 13th. Wait, are you talking about the remake or are you talking about Texas Chainsaw still?
Wait, no, I was talking about the kills with the Friday the 13th remake. I've seen the killer cut. Like, I've seen it, and they give you like a couple more seconds. Like, I like when they kill that dude in the beginning and they actually give you a little bit more of when he slices that dude in the head with the machete. You get a little bit more of the sleeping bag. You get more of Trent's death when he gets impaled on that truck. You get, I think you get more with, I can't remember which other kill it was, but you get a little bit more in there. But it's like, the kills weren't that creative, man. And a lot of them were nods to, oh yeah, and you get more of Chewie. When Chewie gets stabbed in the neck with that screwdriver, you get more frames of that scene. But the kills are kind of just okay. And the whole subplot with Clay looking for Whitney, and Jason keeps her hostage because she reminds him of his mother and the locket shit. It's like, come on, man. Like, I don't hate the movie, but I just think that shit it could have been one of the best slasher remakes. I don't think it could have been the best of the bunch, but it definitely could have been a hell of a lot better. The direction's okay, and I do give Derek Mears credit. He's in my top 5 as far as Jason performances go, because he made Jason a badass, and he made Jason scary again. Like, when he's got that bag over his head in the beginning, and when they've got that shot of him chasing after Whitney and he comes out the trap door.
Yeah, the way that he moves is just so natural and yet so unnatural. You know what I mean? Like there's just like this added deformity to his movement. You know what I mean? Or he just doesn't look right when he's moving. So yeah, I agree. I think Derek Mears doesn't get enough credit as Jason. And they definitely fucking did not utilize him properly in Predators, which is very unfortunate because he plays the classic Predator. I'm like, dude, are you fucking serious? Like, come on, that's bullshit.
Big shout out to Derek Mears, man, because he is one of our modern day movie monsters. He's up there with Doug Jones. He's up there with Javier Botet. Derek Mears has played Jason, Predator, Swamp Thing, Chameleon in The Hills Have Eyes 2. He played the Wolf in Cursed. He's played a bunch of motherfuckers. He was in, I know a lot of people don't like Wild Wild West, but he's that guy with the metal plate in his head that Will Smith's fighting in the movie. Yeah, he's the guy with the metal plate in his head. Derek Mears is a character actor, man. I love that dude's performances as a movie monster. But I don't hate the remake. I just feel like it could have been a hell of a lot better. There weren't too many scenes where I'm like, damn, or like when the kills are, it was all right. It's okay. I do like Jared Padalecki in that movie. But some of the shit was predictable too. Like when they killed Danielle Panabaker, like when she's the last one to climb through the hole when they're getting out the cave, I'm like, this bitch is about to get slaughtered. I know she's about to die. And then they tried to make it dramatic. Like Clay's reaching for her and she's looking down like, have I just been stabbed in the chest? Like, not me. The remake horror, and I don't mean a horror in real life, but Danielle Panabaker is what I call a remake horror. She's in Friday the 13th. She's in Piranha 3 Double D. She's in The Crazies. She's in a lot of shit. She's like Jamie King. And she's like, what's that girl name from Nightmare on Elm Street? She's another remake horror. I can't remember that girl's name. The one that played, there you go, Kate Cassidy, because she's in Mother's Day. She's in not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. But that's my number 8, bro. I almost went on a whole rant about that shit.
Okay, so my number 8 is gonna piss some people off, and yeah, it's gonna piss people off. Friday the 13th.
Ooh, the original.
Friday the 13th is at number 8.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm gonna go ahead. I ain't saying nothing. You're not about to have these fanboys.
This movie only works one time. There's no rewatchability to this movie. None. You watch this movie once and you're done with it. It's Psycho. It's like watching Psycho. Like once you see Psycho and you see the twist, you're like, oh, okay. But then when you rewatch it again, you try to pick up on Easter eggs and say, oh yeah, like I'm trying to figure out like if they, told you this or whatnot.
Trying to connect the dots. Yep.
Yeah. But Friday the 13th doesn't really do that, and it's kind of a weak script anyway, and there's no Jason, and I love Betsy Palmer's performance toward the end of the movie, but it's not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, this is like one of the greatest slasher movies of all time. It's not. It works better as a murder mystery than it does as a fucking slasher movie. And I think that's the problem with this movie, that it's a whodunit disguised as a slasher, but the slasher aspect doesn't really matter as to like the mystery that surrounds the murders. And I think that's the problem with this movie. It's like you can watch it once you get the review, it's like, oh yeah, okay. I know people have this in their top 5. That's great, but it's not my top 5. I don't even think it's like one of the best Friday movies. Yes, it gave a launching pad to Friday the 13th, but without Friday the 13th, we wouldn't have Jason. I understand that.
Was good, bro. What is good?
And so I don't think Friday the 13th holds up, and I don't think it's a very entertaining movie once you watch it the first time. You watch it the first time. If you've never seen Friday the 13th and you watch it for the first time, it is a very enjoyable experience. But if you're someone like us that just watched movies and you watch it again, you're going to get bored. Tell me I'm lying, because you're going to clock your fucking phone and go through TikTok while you're watching the movie in the background. So you know what? All you motherfuckers out there right now, dudes, talking all that bullshit, don't fucking give me that shit. Oh, this is like the best movie. No, motherfucker, it ain't, because you know what? You're clocking on your fucking phone while the movie's in the background. Get the fuck up out of here. I'm sorry. That's what it is. It is what it is, man. It is not the 5th best, nor is it the 10th best. It is the 8th best in this fucking franchise. Get over it.
All right. Can I say something real quick?
No.
Real quick. I don't know how you're gonna respond to this.
Did you just not see the rant?
Part one was actually my number 7. Part one was actually my number 7. Yeah. And honestly, like, I feel like as far as the series, like, I get what it means to people, but the way I can detach myself from this movie is crazy. Because, like you said, I mean, I can rewatch it, but once you see it, it's kind of like, all right, you know what's going to happen. And honestly, I'm going to be real, like, the reveal for Mrs. Voorhees never really hit. Like, it never fucking hit. It never hit. Like, when she pops up, it's kind of a dead giveaway. Like, she pops up smiling, and she's like, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. I'm Fred. Like, it's like, bitch, you see this girl screaming hysterically, and you're just like, well, I'm not afraid. And you're kind of wondering, first of all, every outfit that you see the killer in, this bitch has it on. When Alice sees her, she's got the fucking sweater. She's got the fucking collared shirt that when she kills Annie, she's got every fucking shirt on that she kills people with in the movie. And if you're savvy, like, the naked eye won't notice, but if you're savvy to the shit, you're going to see, like, hold up, like, the killer that, you know, even when she puts her hand on Kevin Bacon's head and stabs him through the throat, you can see that plaid shirt. And she's got all that shit on. First of all, wasn't it fucking summertime? Why the fuck did she have on like 8 layers of clothing? That's how you know Mrs. Voorhees was crazy as fuck to begin with. She had on like 8 layers of clothing. But the characters, other than Brenda, I don't give a fuck about those characters. I don't. Yeah. I like Adrienne King as a final girl. I like what she stands for in the movie. Kevin Bacon launched his career on Friday the 13th, but I just don't give a fuck. Like, I watch it for the kills, and I will say that as far as any of the Friday the 13th movies being scary, that is the one that I can say is kind of scary for the most part, because, like, the whole creeping around, the score works, the lighting works, and all that shit. But, like, I can just detach myself from it, man. I love the ending, though. The ending, you know, I love it, but it makes no sense, and they kind of put themselves in a hole as far as the rest of the series, because it's like, okay, did y'all know y'all wanted to be part supernatural, or was it just, I think Sean Cunningham said that when they had Jason pop out of the water, they knew that, okay, we're just having fun. We wanted the audience to know we were just having fun type of shit. And I get it.
He had seen, because in His Name Was Jason documentary, he goes on and says, I had seen Carrie, and the arm coming out of the rocks is one of the reasons that influenced that ending. That's why that ending is in there. He put that ending because he saw Carrie. Because I want to put that in there. Like, that's what we're going to do.
And Brian De Palma should have sued the shit out of Sean S. Cunningham for that. Like, he probably called him up like, yo, man, I know you saw my shit. Why would you even do that? Probably slid Brian De Palma a little hush money. Like, look, man, I took the idea. Here, just take this. We made this opening weekend. Take that money real quick.
Right? So, yeah, I think so that's what happened with that ending. And Sean didn't want to do a sequel. He didn't want to do a sequel. If he did do a sequel, he's off. I don't know if he's trolling, but he's off to say if I ever went back and did the original sequel, it'd be a musical.
That motherfucker's trolling. He's trolling.
It'd be a musical.
He's trolling. And honestly, everybody says that shit. He didn't want to do a sequel, and they came up to him with a check and was like, hey. He's like, all right, man, I won't direct it or write it. I'll stamp it and put my name on it. I'll put my name on it. And he can't say nothing. It's like, Sean Cunningham, I'll give him this. He owns that series. Not owns it, but he wears it like a badge of honor. I love that, man. He's not ashamed of it. Even Jason Goes to Hell, like, he talks about it like with so much pride and joy, man. Like, he's not like John Carpenter, where it's like, yeah, I did the first one, it's a hit. I didn't want to do the second one, so I just got drunk and wrote it. I don't like it. I don't have anything to do with the rest. And then he jumps the fuck back on board when they pay him for Halloween, this new trilogy. Sean Cunningham, that's one thing. Exactly. Money fucking talks, bro. Exactly. And speaking of Sean, listen, while we're on the topic of Friday the 13th Part 1, Sean Cunningham, and I know they're not watching this, but I'm just speaking it into existence. Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller need to get their shit together and put their big boy panties on and stop having this pissing contest. I'm tired of it. We haven't gotten a fucking sequel in like 10 years. I'm sick of it, man.
Yeah,
Tired of it.
the lawsuit's not going Sean's way, so I'll just leave it at that. It's all bad.
Two big ass babies.
So your number 7 was Friday. My
number 7 was the original movie, yeah.
So my number 7 is Jason Goes to Hell. Yes, it's pretty high up there. I like Jason Goes to Hell. I like how they were trying to like incorporate Jason being a Deadite. I thought that was a really good idea because the original idea was to make Ash versus Jason versus Freddy. That was the original idea for that, which is what they were trying to set up with New Line, because New Line owned the original Evil Dead. They also own Jason, and they also own Freddy. Yes, New Line distributed the original Evil Dead.
What?
Yes, they did.
God damn.
Yeah, and so they actually own that, which is why that series that's coming on HBO Max is supposed to be a continuation of the first movie, not a continuation of the second or third.
They're just ignoring, like they're retconning the rest of the Evil Dead shit.
Well, it's interesting too because they're doing their own multiverse, which is interesting. So yeah, we'll see how that works out though.
God damn.
Because Sam Raimi said this version is going to be a lot darker and more akin to the first Evil Dead, because the first Evil Dead was actually pretty terrifying. But yeah, Jason Goes to Hell, I enjoy it. I think it's really great. It has a really great moment. It has a very crazy tent sequence in there. The opening is fucking bonkers. Just when that dude just starts mauling at that heart, it's just like, what the fuck, man? It's just pretty crazy. So I enjoy Jason Goes to Hell, man. That's my number 7. That was the best ending. I remember when we was kids, man, we talked about that shit in the playground. Did you see Jason Goes to Hell, blah, 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 the Freddy Ham, this and shit. So yeah, that's my number 7. Jason Goes to Hell.
And I'll also give Jason Goes to Hell this. That FBI agent chick in the beginning, God damn. I don't know who that actress is. I don't know what she's done. But God bless her too. I know she probably looks very different, but God damn, man. And they're like, let me just say this before we get into like number 6. When she takes that fucking hat off and all that hair comes out, and she's like, they should have just slow motion that shit. Fuck the diner sequence slow motion shit. They should have slow mode when she took her hat off and all that fucking hair came out of her shit. That's what they should have did. That's all I gotta say. That's it.
Yeah.
What are we on? Number 6? I got sidetracked. What are we on? Number 6?
I just did my number 7, so yeah, you're on number 6.
All right. I don't know. This might be a little controversial because I know what this entry meant to people too. But my number 6 is Friday the 13th Part 2.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll give Friday the 13th Part 2 this. It does feel like not a direct sequel, like it picks up right after. It feels like it's in conjunction with that first movie. Like it feels like Sean S. Cunningham did it. Steve Miner did it, and I'm glad he came back for back-to-back movies, but it feels like it can go hand in hand with that first movie. Jason, they ripped off the look of Town and Dreaded Sundown, but Jason he's pretty scary in this one. Like those moments where he's running around in the woods chasing Amy Steele with the pitchfork, and that whole chase sequence, it goes a little long, but Jason just seems like more throwed off on some like Hills Have Eyes mutant inbred type of shit, like Hills Have Eyes or Wrong Turn type of thing. And Amy Steele is definitely one of the most underrated final girls ever, because she's the only person who thought to use like psychological warfare against Jason. She put on the sweater and she portrayed, Pamela Voorhees and all of this shit, and she almost got him. And I like that ending, but it's number 6 for me because, again, I don't relate to any of these characters. None of these deaths really hit me, except for the guy in the wheelchair. Mark, and rest in peace, shout out to that actor. That motherfucker gets that
Talk about
machete to me.
talk
God
about
damn,
doing
man.
someone fucking dirty, dude.
And
That cut
he
is
was about to get
fucking
some ass.
nasty, dude. When
He
it's
was
just
about to get some
rolling down
ass.
and then it zooms in and then and it flashes to white, like, oh my god, dude.
And how the fuck? First of all, rest in peace, shout out to that actor for one. But as far as the character goes, and I'm not trying to be smart here, even in the act of being paralyzed, this motherfucker did not lose his balance at all. He managed to stay in that wheelchair down the Exorcist length flight of stairs, man. And that is a talent, even in death, that he did not fall out of that fucking wheelchair. But his death, he's probably got the best death in the whole movie, man. And but it pisses me off because he was about to get some ass. He was about to get some ass. He was sitting there showboating and arm wrestling everybody, and he was telling the girl, "Yeah, I'm in training." And she called his bluff at some point. She's like, "You're in training for what?" He kind of was like, "Like what? I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore." But his death was sad. Another reason this movie irks the shit out of me, and it might be a small nitpick, is because the character of Ted. You know the redhead guy who was like the practical Joker? He was the 80s guy who was in like every 80s comedy or something. They didn't do anything with him, but he was a smart motherfucker because he went bar hopping when when everybody left the bar and was like, don't forget to drive straight back to camp when you're done. He wanted an after hour spot. So we definitely need a direct sequel where Ted, tells his story of how he was the one that got away and all this other shit. But it's like Friday the 13th Part 2, other than Amy Steele, I don't like the character of Paul. I can't relate to any of the other characters. They're okay, but when they die, it's kind of just like whatever. And I don't know which movie came first, but I hate the fact that both Friday the 13th Part 2 and Halloween 2 have a heavy set cop that gets a hammer to the back of the head. Like, I hate that they both have the same fucking kill, and I don't know which one came first and which copied it. But it's like I don't hate Part 2. It's just not. Clearly, it's not in my top 5 because of just again like the first one, how I can detach myself from it is okay. It's all right, but I don't hate it by any stretch of the imagination. So that's
so they both came out the same year.
Halloween 2 and
Friday the 13th
Part
too.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but which came out first though is what I'm saying.
Friday came out in May, and then Halloween 2 came out October 30th, 1981.
All right, so Rick Rosenthal's a fucking thief, man. And fuck Rick Rosenthal for Halloween Resurrection, by the way.
So where are we at? We're at number 6.
We are at number 6, bro.
Is the remake.
Okay.
It's really hard to fuck up Jason. You really have to try really hard to fuck up Jason. You really have to try. And I don't feel like they fucked up Jason in this movie. I feel like this is actually a really decent remake. I don't understand the hate. I mean, I get your criticisms about the characters and not relating to them, and they just kind of feel like caricatures of people rather than people. So I get that, but to me, it's like I feel like this was just like a movie that's supposed to be just like one of those throwbacks to like the 80s, but just with a modern touch. And I went into it with that kind of mindset. It's like, oh, this is going to be like something akin to like 2, 3, and 4. And it kind of was. And yeah, it kind of tamed. Yeah, it was kind of tamed, with some of the kills. But I felt like, I remember watching that in theaters, man, and I was the only one marking out for shit. Like, when they did the sleeping bag, like, oh, shit! You know what I mean? When he sticks the fucking blade in the docks and it goes, and it picks up the girl when it goes through her head.
I forgot about that. That's Willa Ford.
Yeah, Willa Ford.
I like that kill because they gave you a decent kill and they gave you a pair of titties in the same sequence. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I love is that when he takes the blade out of her head and she falls down, you kind of see like air bubbles like come out of the wound right before she sinks. That was a nice little touch. I'll give it that too. Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to fuck up a Jason movie. And I just like it. I think it's very entertaining for what it is, and it knows what it is. And You know, this comes after Texas Chainsaw Massacre and right before Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's like right there in the sweet spot. And it's a shame that people
Yeah.
just didn't go out and go see it. Like, I know Space Liberace, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he said, like, Jason should be enough to get people to the theater. But
Yep.
Jason wasn't enough to get them to the theater for the remake, unfortunately.
Did the remake, like, did it underperform as far as the numbers?
It didn't.
Damn.
It was Texas Chainsaw Massacre outgrossed the remake to Friday the 13th.
Okay.
That
was the one that jump started the slasher remake craze.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me. Like, how does Leatherface outgrows Jason Voorhees? That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
Statistically, it doesn't make sense because Friday the 13th is way more of a popular franchise than Texas. I don't know. Maybe Jessica Biel in that tank top was the reason Texas Chainsaw grossed over fucking Friday the 13th. I don't know, man. That might have something to do with it. It might have something.
Yeah, and I think I think the remake is just a fun. I think it's fun. You know what I mean? It's a fun, dumb slasher, and that's what it is. And I enjoy that because it knows it's dumb. You know what I mean? So
to piggyback off of what you said, you nailed it, bro. Because it really is the first couple movies in one movie. And I remember going back, and this is just a theory of mine. I remember going back and watching it, and this shit has something where it's like the 4-3-2-1 theory for me. And there's a moment from part 4 at the end where he busts through that window and grabs Jared Padalecki. That was like when he grabbed Tommy in part 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a moment where he gets hung from the chain briefly. That was like a moment from part 3. There's a moment where Whitney calls Jason and distracts him. That was like a moment from part 2. And there's the moment where Jason pops up at the end. That was the moment. Like, I like that shit. I like that they did that. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Mm-hmm.
We won't know unless we have
because it's a remake of 2, 3, and 4. Because with the bag, with the mask, and with the with it being a man rather than a girl being the final. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's like a combination of 3 movies rather than just one movie.
Yeah. So I do like that. I do like that.
Number 6, I mean, it is a fun movie. I enjoy it for what it is. I don't understand the hate that it gets. I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets. Nightmare on Elm Street, on the other hand, deserves the hate that it gets, but the remake to Friday the 13th does not. Just saying.
And I will say about the remake, it definitely deserved a sequel. It definitely deserved a sequel. I don't know where they were going to go, but I think Breck Eisner, whoever the guy was that did the Crazies, he was supposed to do it, and it was supposed to be Jason in the Snow. And I don't know why the fuck Platinum Dunes didn't, and fuck Michael Bay, because Michael Bay, he produced it and just put his name on it, but he walked out of the premiere because it was too much sex, and it's like, you don't know what you're latching yourself onto, motherfucker. Like fuck.
Michael Bay, the guy who objectifies women in every one of his movies. Get the fuck up out of here.
Yep. Yeah, he's the one that had a camera up Megan Fox's ass for two whole Transformers movies. So also, just to answer your question of why they didn't make a sequel, there's an interview with I think Brad Fuller or Andrew Fuller or something like that. The writer.
Yeah. He was on a podcast a couple years ago called Shockwaves, and he was saying that Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, actually was the reason why they shut down Platinum Dunes, because of the reception of that movie. They had not got a call from any studio or any writer for fucking 3 years after that movie premiered. Because that movie killed it just killed their whole thing. Which I can see, because that movie is fucking garbage. You know what I mean?
Trash. Straight up trash.
You put that shit out there, that's on you.
Yeah.
You put that out there. That's on you, man.
Yeah, as soon as the studio's gonna call, like, wait, who's this? From Nightmare on Elm Street? Nah, and then they just hang the fuck up on him, like, yeah, you made that bed, you gotta lay in it. Sorry. What are we on? Number 5, right?
Number 5.
Ooh, my number 5, man.
Okay, here we go. This is where it gets This is where it might get ugly here.
I know. I'm not. Listen, I wear my number 5 with pride, bro. I do. My number 5 is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. I don't give a fuck who doesn't like this movie. I love. This was always one that, like, you know how you say the rewatch factor.
Mm-hmm.
Friday the 13th, Part 5. Every and anybody that's like, oh well, it's not Jason, it's sacrilegious. Well, a lot of those are the same people that give the original a pass or don't know that Jason's not the killer in the first movie. I'm not trying to hear nothing. Friday the 13th, Part 5. Let's get the obvious out the way. We know it's not Jason. And it was a sucker punch. Like, people, I can only imagine how disappointed people were. But nobody can sit up there and say that throughout that entire movie, I mean, there are moments like in the third act where it's a little weird and you kind of might think that there's something going on. But for the most part, you think it's Jason. It feels like that first movie where you only see the hand of the killer with the weapon. You don't see him until the third act. Now, granted, Roy did steal Michael Myers' jumpsuit, and Roy looks weird. He's got a new mask. He got Michael Myers threads on. Like, yeah, because he looks weird. Like, Jason had like a top and pants on in the last couple movies, and then he just pops the fuck up with a jumpsuit and, you know, the blue markings on the mask. It's weird, and he walks really strange in that movie. Like, when he's power walking in the rain, he's like walking sideways at some point. I like it because Tom Morgott, like, he's the guy that played Michael Myers in Part 4 at some scenes. But Tom Morgott as you know, Roy and Jason, he's got a really disturbing walk, man. We know it's not Jason. We know the kills are fucking, you know, they're okay, but the MPAA raped this movie. The MPAA fucked this movie up as far as the gore goes, so the kills aren't good. But this is hands down the most Motley Crue misfit group of fucking characters. If you took Roy Burns out of Pinehurst, I would watch an entire movie about these characters. I love these fucking characters. Jake, Violet, goddamn, what's that girl's name? Robin, Demon, Anita, Reggie the Reckless. Goddamn, I love these fucking characters, man. Melanie Kinnaman's great in the movie. And honestly, I know it's a stretch, and I know a lot of people wouldn't like me saying this, but I like John Shepard's portrayal as Tommy Jarvis more than I do Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis. It's the same way I feel about how Scout Taylor Compton played Laurie Strode in Halloween 2. I like that over how Jamie Lee Curtis played Laurie Strode in H2O. As far as like psychological damage and being fucked up, John Shepard is that. He is there. He looks disturbed. He looks like he'd been through all the events of Part 4, where Tom Matthews just pops up like, yeah, I'm here to kill Jason. Everything's okay. I like Tom Matthews, but John Shepard is fucked up. And that moment where he fucks up Junior and snaps out for the first time, you kind of think like, okay, he might be killing people in this movie. Like, they even do, you know how Jason does like the kill, kill, ma sound? They say kill, kill Tommy in there. Like the ta, ta, ta. Like they do some shit in the movie where it's like, okay, y'all tried something different, and they could have they could have kept going with it had they not killed Roy, or had they finished it with, or kept going with, you know, Tommy at the end of it. It is like a cliffhanger ending that doesn't make any fucking sense, and they never followed up with it. But I just love.
It's much like the Danielle Harris in Halloween 4. You know what I mean? It's just like that, where it's like, oh shit, and you don't follow up on that. That is such a brilliant ending, and yet you don't do anything with it.
Yep. And I feel like, I don't know if it's because Miguel Nunez is in this movie and he was in Return of the Living Dead. These characters kind of feel like an extension of the characters in Return of the Living Dead, because Violet, Anita, and Demon have like this punk rock 80s shit about them that I really wish those characters would have fucking survived. And then you got like Junior and Ethel, just nasty as fuck, backwoods living motherfuckers. Like, I love these characters, man. Yeah. I love it. The third act is kind of choppy because, you know, they give it away. Like, Jason was able to bleed and be hurt in those movies, but Roy is like blatantly, like, he gets hit with the bulldozer and then he like grabs his stomach and looks at the blood, and then he gets hit with the chainsaw and he's down for the count. Like, they kind of give away with, oh yeah, let me just wrap this shit up because I'm praising the fuck out of this movie. Those greasers are two of the best fucking characters in the whole series. And I really wish that dude that was singing that Rat-Tat-Tootie song, I wish he dropped a mixtape. That is all. That's all. I can't tell you how many times as a kid I got in trouble for singing that Rat-Tat-Tootie song. That shit is catchy as hell. Catchy as hell.
Holy shit. I mean, you forgot to mention Reggie, dude. Reggie was the fucking heart and soul.
Shout out to Shavar Ross. Shout out to Shavar Ross. That motherfucker went from Different Strokes to Friday the 13th, and he survived. Yeah, and he survived, and he got to be pressed up against Melanie Kinman in that movie. So big shout out to Shavar Ross. I don't know if he's got an Instagram or not, so we can't tag. Like Reggie the Reckless, he's one of the kid characters that wasn't annoying back in 80s horror.
Yeah,
which was very fucking rare. That was very rare back then.
My number 5 is New Blood, Jason versus Carrie.
Oh,
you want to talk about the MPAA fucking slaughtering a movie? This movie got slaughtered by the MPAA. And it's unfortunate that fucking Paramount did not fucking care about its extended footage and just let it fucking get dissolved in a flood.
They burned it. They burnt that footage. Yeah, we'll never get the Beekler cut ever.
Never. And it sucks too because damn, like there is like a rough cut of a VHS cut of some of the kills on YouTube.
I've seen it.
Yeah, go back and watch it because holy shit, man! Like, damn, A New Blood could have really just fucking raised the bar for Friday the 13th in terms of gore and blood and everything, you know what I mean? But damn, the MPAA at that time, man, was just on a fucking rampage. They did this with New Blood. They did this with Leatherface 3. They did this with the Dream Child. They did this with Halloween 5. You know what I mean?
And New Blood is like one of the things I loved about that movie, you had a special effects guy directing this movie. So he put his everything, him and that crew put their everything into those effects, man, just for them. Like, it's depressing watching that footage on YouTube because he was going crazy. Like when Ben gets his head smashed, like he said he wanted it to get smashed into a walnut, and it's like he called it like a beautiful mess or whatever he called it. That shit was badass, man. And I'm so mad that they will never get the Beekler cut. We'll never get it, man. Ever.
We'll never get it. We'll never see it in its full restoration. They did find the My Bloody Valentine negative, so hopefully there is a version of that negative out there. So, knock on wood. But Paramount will never do it. So, because Paramount's a bunch of bitches. Fucking hate Paramount.
Frank Mancuso's got that fucking work print version sitting under his bed somewhere. He's not coming off that shit.
Right, he's fucking holding it hostage. Like, I'm gonna make some money off this shit.
Rest in peace, shout out to John Carl Beekler, man. That was another sad loss. He's a part of the franchise though, but that guy is definitely missed because he put a lot into his work, man. And it's sad that we never see that shit.
In New Blood, that's one of the reasons why I think it's the Fifth Best Plus. You get a final girl that's also an equal to Jason. And does just as much damage to Jason as Jason does to her. And I really do appreciate that. I like it how they went that way and this is the first time we see Kane Hodder as Jason.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? He by default becomes our generation's Jason.
Yep. And he hands down has the best fucking look for me of any Jason in the franchise. Like he looks like the how am I trying to say this? He looks like the legend that ends up being fucking Jason Voorhees, bro. He does. Like, his look is so crazy, and I love that, like, John Carl Beekler said in an interview, he's like, he wanted to make sure every bit of wear and tear was on Jason. The mark from the axe, the mark from the machete in part 4, like his face, the way his mask and his cheek was all fucked up from part 6. Like, continuity, man, that's lacking in franchises, and I love that shit. I respect that shit.
Yeah, and with the chain from Jason Lives, you had everything. You know what I mean? So
everything.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 5, A New Blood. And it's probably one of the. It is Jason versus Carrie, but it is very fun. It is very great. I have a blast with it. I do get mad sometimes when I watch it because like fuck man, I want to see what Beecher had. You know, I want to see that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you just have to like bite the bullet and just watch it and enjoy it. Just not think about it.
And yo, it's crazy because they were on a warpath, man. And that is like I did a whole episode talking about the cuts that we may or may never see, and the New Blood was on there, and Leatherface was on there because they raped that shit too, and they had it out, man. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, it works because less is more with the kills," and it's like, nah, because that's what we like. That's what a lot of us go to watch this shit for. Like, sometimes we don't go for the characters, we go to see the fucking kills, and that is what it is. But they like, I think they like it works. New Blood works while it's tamed, but it's like you said, you go back and watch it, and it's like, damn, man, like what. We think about what could have been as far as all of these fucking, these kills that we'll never get to fucking see. At least not in a full, straight run through of that movie. That's fucking Paramount, man. Fucking Paramount, man.
So what's your number 4? What you got for
number 4? My number 4 is Friday the 13th, Part 3D. That's my number 4. And
what?
Yeah.
What?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because one of the things I love about Part 3, Jason is just waltzing the fuck around Higgins Haven with no mask on for 2 acts of this movie. He does not, they don't show his face. They don't show his face. But he's walking around Higgins Haven, no mask. He's beating the shit out of people. He's stabbing the fuck out of people. And I'm not gonna lie, I like the bikers. You know they're gonna die. You know they're disposable. You know they're cannon fodder. But I like the bikers. I feel like they could have did something with those bikers more than they did, but they didn't. And I feel like another reason this movie is like so close and definitely in the top 5. I'm just a sucker for Jason getting his mask. Like that first time when Jason walks onto that dock, and first of all, Vera is dumb as fuck because how the fuck did she think that was Shelly? Jason is like hunched over, walking. He's like 7 feet tall and he's hunched over walking. How did she think that was Shelly? It's not like she was like that far away that she couldn't really tell. And then when she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you pointing that at me? What's your name? What's your social security number?" Like she's just like asking him all these fucking questions. But when he shoots that fucking, I wish I was in the theater for when he shoots that fucking arrow into her eye and that shit comes right at the screen. I know popcorn went flying in the theater back in, what was that, 82? Like 82, 83 when that shit came out or something like that. And I love, one of the things I love about Part 3 is that Dana Kimmel, I think is her name, that plays Chris, the final girl, she loses her shit. Like, she's got a really fucked up backstory, and you don't really know what happened to her. They just kind of hint that Jason attacked her and all this other shit, but we don't know what happened afterwards. But Dana Kimmel, she's crazy. Like, you see how, like, in her eyes where she's, like, slashing at the screen when Jason's, like, dodging the knife in the hallway, she's losing her shit. And at some point, they justify the ending. You know how in the first movie, they don't really say if Alice hallucinated Jason jumping out the lake or if it was real. Dana, like Chris, at some point, she falls. When Jason's chasing her out of the van, she falls and hits her head on a rock. So they kind of justify the fact that we don't know if she hit her head so hard that she hallucinated Mrs. Voorhees coming out the water. I will say about that ending, that was a cop-out. Like, I know it's the third movie, and the third movies always go back to the first one and do some similar shit. But that shit made no fucking sense. They did that clearly for shock value when Mrs. Voorhees pops out the lake. And who put her fucking head back on? Like, who put her fucking head back on? Like, there are certain things in that movie that don't make sense. But
it would have been funnier if they would have just kept it headless and you just see the sweater. just
Just
walking
got in the sweater,
toward it.
just jumps the fuck out the water. Another thing I like about the movie, I mean, it's fucked up to say, but we're talking about a horror movie. Like, there's no discrimination in horror movies. Jason kills a pregnant woman in this movie. That girl,
I don't remember that.
remember the girl, goddamn Debbie, the one that's dating the guy that's doing the handstands. That was a dope ass kill when he cuts that dude in half with the handstand. She's pregnant. You don't remember when they're in the car and the cops are behind them and they start eating the weed?
Yeah.
Because they think they're going to get locked up, and he hands her the weed when he's eating it. She's like, "Whoa, we're pregnant." Remember? He kills a pregnant woman. He stabs that bitch in her throat when she's on the hammock, and nobody bats an eye to it. Nobody ever talks about the fact that Jason killed that bitch and she was pregnant. Nobody talks about it. Jason didn't give a fuck in this movie at all. And then you got the fake ass Cheech and Chong dude that's in there. That was just always just weird. That was weird as fuck. Like, I don't know why it's weird, but that motherfucker was a straight up. Remember when we were talking about Freddy versus Jason the last stream, and I said that they had the fake ass Jay or not Jay, but fake ass Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. We got the fake ass Cheech and Chong in this one. We got him. But it's entertaining. I know you say like it definitely is. I agree with you when you said it's one of those movies where it's a bunch of people, you having some snacks and some beers, and you got people over. That movie is what you throw on, but you can't really watch it at home and enjoy it. It's something that you got to see it in theater to get the full experience, because it is kind of, when you watch it like regularly, it is kind of gimmicky because you got, shit, the guys holding the thing at the screen, and you got people throwing cigarettes at the screen and shit like that. Yo-yos are going into the screen. So I definitely get your point.
It leans into the gimmick, you know what I mean? It really leans into the gimmick. And I think it's like one of the first 3D movies in the 80s, I believe.
Jaws 3 was after that, right?
I think you're right. I think Jaws 3D was 1983.
That's another
July
terrible.
22. Yeah, so Jaws 3D preceded by a month.
I was about to say we should do a ranking for the Jaws series, but I feel like that's easy for me. I feel like the ranking is as follows. Like, as those movies were released, that's that ranking for that franchise. Because goddamn, those movies just decrease in fucking value.
Those movies get hard to watch each sequel.
And it's a shame because 3 and 4 had really good casts.
Yeah,
Jaws 3 and 4 had really good cast. I don't know what the fuck, Mike. I don't think Michael Caine had to pay like his phone bill or something when he was in part 4. But god damn, bruh. Jesus, man, that shit's bad. That shit got dark real fast.
Yeah. Let's see. Where we at? We're at number.
We're on number 3. Wait. Oh yeah. That's
my
wait.
Number
You're
4.
number 4. You're number 4. All right. Yeah. You're right.
My number 4 is A New Beginning. Mean-spirited. I think Danny Simon did one of the best ones, and I love the fact that it's not Jason. It pretty much tells you it's not Jason if you're paying attention at the poster and at the art cover of this fucking movie, so you have no right to be pissed off. It's not our fault that you did not fucking see the off-brand hockey mask that they used for the poster art. It was kind of giving you a clue.
That's the fucking. They use the same mask from that movie. I've never seen it, but I've seen like a clip of it. Bloody Murder. They use that generic ass. They use that generic ass hockey mask on the front cover.
And they also use that generic mask for Edge of the Axe.
What is that? I don't think I ever
You
saw
never
it.
seen Edge of the Axe?
What is it?
Edge of the Axe.
That's a horror movie?
That's a horror movie that came out in the 80s. Like one of those sleazy ass horror movies.
Oh, 88.
Yeah, it is awesome. I think it still might be on Shudder. If it's still on Shudder, give it a watch, man. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Edge of the. Hold up. Let me write this down because I'm putting it on my watch list. You know I love a good first time watch horror, man. But no, I'm curious to hear everything you got to say about A New Beginning, because that movie gets so much hate that's not even deserved.
It's like one of the sequels that's very maligned, like Season of the Witch or Freddy's Revenge. It's those 3 movies that always get a lot of hate that it's very unnecessary.
The Black Sheeps.
Yeah, I enjoyed A New Beginning when I watched it because I actually thought the idea of Tommy becoming Jason in a later sequel, which they didn't follow up on, like we talked about earlier, like that was intriguing to me. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, and also Reggie. When I saw the movie, I was closer to Reggie's age when I saw the movie, so I could relate to Reggie. You know what I mean? Like being a
Yeah.
kid and like being among adults and stuff like that. And it's like I thought that was a really I thought he was very relatable, and that's one of the reasons why I think I liked this movie a lot because when I saw this movie, I was closer to Reggie's age. You know what I mean? And even when I watched it again, I still enjoyed it. I didn't check my phone once. I was like, dude, this fucking movie is awesome. It's mean spirited. It takes no prisoners. It gives no fucks, and
And
it's
the
just
body count is high as fuck
yeah,
in this movie.
yeah,
Roy kills 2 motherfuckers each kill sequence. Each
yeah.
kill sequence, he kills 2 motherfuckers.
I think it's the second highest body count next to New Blood.
For real? I thought
think
you
it
were gonna say Jason X.
No,
Because when he kills the grunts, it's like 8 of those motherfuckers that he just is just slaughtering on screen, off screen. But Roy, and that's another thing people don't give it credit for. It might not have been Jason, but Roy Burns was getting busy in that movie. He was knocking 2 off each fucking time. And the movie's sleazy as shit. Like I love how sleazy and just dirty the movie feels, honestly.
so in
Well
New
deserved.
Beginning, Roy kills 17 people.
Whew. Fucking lunatic, that guy.
Jason Lives 18 and Jason X 21.
Mm.
And then Jason Goes to Hell is the highest kill count at 25.
Well,
But-
it wasn't Jason, so
Yeah. it
Lucky
was,
for
it was
that.
Demon Jason.
yeah, it was the coroner, it was Josh, and it was what the fuck was Jessica's boyfriend's name? Robert Campbell. And then it was the fucking deputy at some point at the end whose neck got cut open and then the little ass
The
gremlin
thing
came
came
out.
out. Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, I like A New Beginning.
God damn, man, I'm sorry, man. Like that, like Jason, we moved past it, so I'm not even going to do that. We moved past it.
New Beginning is one of my favorites. I do hope people go back and watch it and just enjoy it just for the slasher movie that it is, rather than what it isn't. You know what I mean?
I've got an idea for that. They can follow up A New Beginning. That ending, they can follow that up. I doubt that they'll do it. That's something that they would have to do a fan film for. But I'm telling you, and I feel like Tommy should get killed in that one. Like if they ever followed up The New Beginning, you remember how Tommy I don't even know if I should say this. Like I don't even know if I should say this shit. Should I say this shit? Because I feel like they could do this.
What?
You remember how Tommy had that dream in the beginning of A New Beginning where Corey Feldman's like at the at the cemetery and they're digging up Jason's grave and all that other shit. I feel like Tommy should kill Pam like he was supposed to do at the end of A New Beginning, but have him escape the hospital, have him dress up, have him go on a killing spree, but at some point he stumbles upon some motherfuckers really digging up Jason's grave and he tries to kill them, but Jason actually wakes up and Tommy just starts bitching and he gets his cards pulled like, oh my God, like I'm really not Jason. I got my work cut out for me with this shit. And Jason just kills Tommy and then just goes on a spree and Trish goes after him because she knows her fucking deranged. Like something can be done. Something can be done there.
That would be dude. That is fucking hard, bro. You should write that shit, dude. Write that shit down. Write that shit down. That shit's hard. I like that idea. That idea is hitting for real.
But then you would have to have. I mean, you could show him off screen, but because John Shepard retired from acting, he retired and he got in tune with his religion, and he didn't want to do any more movies and no horror movies. But you would have to get like Kimberly Beck. You would have to get her back to play Trish and is all that other shit. But I don't know. People come back for these Friday the 13th fan films more than they do any Halloween ones. Like My boy Christian, shout out to my man Christian. They got Tom Matthews to come back and Never Hike Alone. Or what was it? Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow.
Which they're filming the sequel to right now.
They've got him coming back again. Adrian King came back for a sequel to Friday the 13th Part 1. And have you seen that shit?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've seen Vengeance, I've seen Roseblood, and I've seen the one with the convicts. With the convicts that are cleaning up the stuff.
Man. Roseblood was dope. Roseblood was dope. Wait, what are we on? I'm losing.
So that was my number 4, so it'll be on number 3.
All right. So my number 3 on the list is Friday the 13th Part 7, New Blood. And this shit, Friday the 13th Part 7, you know how we said like a new beginning is mean-spirited? This is the one for me. This shit is dark. Not just the tone of the movie. I mean, not just the look of the movie, but the tone. We went from something that's tongue-in-cheek with Jason Lives, and I'm cool with that. But we went from something that's tongue-in-cheek, wall-to-wall humor, even slapstick violence at certain points, to a movie that's just mean as shit. There's humor there, but the stakes are different. Terry Kaiser is just an evil fucking Dr. Loomis at this point. He's evil as shit, man. Like to the point where he's setting up, like he puts that spike into the outside of the door for Tina to seem crazier, and he's just got this whole vendetta against her to make her seem crazier than she is. The movie starts off with the flashback sequence. She kills her fucking dad. Yeah. Jason's mean as shit. This is when Jason, he was different type of mean. There's a kill in New Blood that gets overlooked. When that dude, Dan, is in the woods trying to, like literally in the woods getting wood for him and his girlfriend to start the fire, Jason punches through this motherfucker's back, out his chest, and still breaks his neck. Like he did insult to injury with this kill. You got the sleeping bag death. You got him smashing that dude's face. You got a character who normally wouldn't die in a horror movie. That girl, Maddie, the one that gets all dialed up to go impress the dude. Her death is off screen, but it's like, god damn, like she looks like she was in like Teen Witch or one of the Disney Channel movies, and she gets fucked up. Like he cuts her throat and nails her to a tree. You got the guy who gets the axe to the face. The one girl gets drowned. Like he just grabs her and just drowns her, like just pulls her all the way at the bottom of the lake. You got literally the boy next door, who normally would die in a Friday the 13th movie, but he is literally the boy next door. And I love the character of Eddie. Like, he doesn't get no ass, but he's the one that's like the resident writer, and he's like, well, what do you think of Star Lacan? And the world gets overpopulated by protozoa and all this. Like, the characters aren't really that strong, but I give it a pass because it's a typical Friday the 13th movie. It's a shit ton of sex. It's a shit ton of skinny dip. Well, not a shit ton, but people are skinny dipping. You got the one pothead dude. He's getting high as shit every scene. And speaking of that dude, the dude, David, that gets high as fuck in every scene, his death scene, like the way that shit is executed doesn't really get enough credit, because when he walks into the kitchen with that flashlight, when the lightning flashes, you don't even really see Jason in the corner of the kitchen just standing there with the butcher knife. You don't see him there. And that's rare because Jason's such a front and center character that was a Michael Myers moment, even down to him using Michael Myers' butcher knife. You don't see him in the corner. And the MPAA did fuck this movie over, but the tone of it is dark and it just works. Like it has to be number 3 for me. I've always loved this movie. My gripes, another gripe with it is, it's like he did have a formidable opponent, but Tina had, she had to drop on this motherfucker every chance. Like when they have a face off for the first time, she gets like twigs and vines and shit to wrap around him. Like, Jason had his work cut out for him. He definitely had his work cut out for him. But I like that it wasn't just a girl that was just running, screaming throughout the whole third act of the movie. She would run and scream a little bit, but for the most part, she's going to stand there and fight. She's going to throw a couch at him.
She earned that, though. You know what I mean? Like, at first, like, she was running and screaming, and then then she had that turning point of, like, I got to fight. Like, I have this power. I can fucking use this shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the life ball just went off in her head. Like, oh my god, yes, I'm gonna beat this motherfucker's ass now.
And another thing that was mean about this movie is I didn't think, like, as a kid, I didn't think that they were going to kill Miss Shepherd off. You know, I know they killed Tommy's and Trish's mom off in part 4, but the way they killed Miss Shepherd, like, Dr. Cruz uses this bitch as a human shield. Like, that shit is cutthroat. And his death, he earned his death, but
Yeah.
he uses her as a human shield. Like he's got, like, her shoulders, and he literally puts her in harm's way and she gets fucking impaled. Like, that's ruthless and heartless.
That's fucking cold, dude. For real. That's fucking hella cold.
Yeah, Dr. Cruz was a bitch. He was a bitch. He definitely was.
So,
But
Callie Ramirez,
my
we're
number
talking
2.
about Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. That's really what we're talking about. We are ranking our Friday the 13th movies from worst to best. We are in our top 3 right now.
Yep.
And my number 3 position goes to Jason Lives. Talk about tongue-in-cheek. This fucking movie is like tongue-in-cheek as fuck, man. This movie knows what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's so interesting to me, too, because someone had asked a question on TikTok and said, had Jason and Michael Myers were able to talk, would they be made comical? I said Myers no, but Jason yes, because if you look at Jason Lives, there are a couple of moments where he does some kills like he could say a fucking pretty good one-liner. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, he
Yep.
opens the movie up doing the James Bond thing. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing more Deadpool than that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I feel like this is the Deadpool horror version. You know what I mean? Of Deadpool. Like, that's what it is. Jason Lives, to me, like, I have a soft spot for this movie because I think I like Tom Matthews. I think his performance as Tommy Jarvis is someone that's hardened and someone that's just, you know what, I'm gonna end this tonight. I've been in a psych ward way too fucking long, and I'm gonna kill this motherfucker even though he's dead. Even though he inadvertently brings him back to life like Frankenstein. I remember a lot of people clown that too. Lightning hits a metal rod and it fucking brings him back.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I love it. And
Yeah,
I love
that's
that
awesome.
CJ Graham, you know, I'm gonna send you that commentary too. Have you heard Tom McLaughlin's commentary, the director for have you heard his commentary for Jason Lives?
No, I don't think so.
I'm just gonna send you the YouTube channel. It's got every single Friday the 13th commentary except Jason Goes to Hell, I think. But it's Tom McLaughlin and some other guy. He's talking about all the references, like the Frankenstein reference. And CJ Graham in an interview, he said that he wanted to portray Jason in a way where he was undead, but he wasn't like a robot Frankenstein type of character. And he nailed that shit because he is undead, but CJ Graham is an underrated Jason actor. Like, a lot of people don't give him the credit he deserves for that shit, but he is underrated as fuck.
I went to a horror convention a couple years ago, and I went up to Kane Hodder and I said, "Hey, CJ Graham's my favorite Jason." He said, "Fuck you."
Listen, you got some brass cojones for doing that shit.
I was like, fuck you, man. $10 for the autograph.
And CJ Graham, I give him credit too as Jason because he was the first Jason to do like a big stunt in the series. He was, they had a fire stunt for him to do. We didn't really see that before in the series and shit. So, it was that. I definitely do not have any gripes with that shit in your ranking right there because
I just think Jason Lives it's probably one, again, like we talked about party movies. That's one of the party movies that you can just throw on with a crowd, you know what I mean? And just like show that, and you don't even have to like be involved with the story. And also too, what this movie does is actually puts kids in danger. Like, there's actual kids at the camp that people just forget about. Like, oh wait, they run a fucking camp. How come there's never no kids there? This one, there's actually kids there and they're in danger, which I actually enjoy because, like, holy shit, like any of these kids could get it. You know what I mean? So it's like that's also adds an interest, like an intrigue to see, okay, how far are they gonna go? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would you have rather they killed some kids in that movie, or are you cool with how they handle?
I'm cool with how it is, but But I think my point is that none of the franchises ever put any of the kids in danger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the
We
only
did.
time where you felt like, oh shit, like because when Jason finally reaches the camp, and then you have that little girl wandering off, it's like, oh my god, oh my god. You know what I mean?
Little
It's just
Carol
like,
Ann 2.0.
yeah, you
Carol
have
Ann
like this
2.0.
tightness in your chest, like, oh my god, are they really gonna go this far? Are they gonna push it? Even though it doesn't seem like they would because of the tone is so off, and doing that would just like really kind of snap you out of it. But I just
Yeah.
do like the fact that they do endanger the kids because it's like it's one of those things where it's not referenced in any of the franchises. It's always teenagers, never kids. And I thought that was
Yeah.
a nice touch. You know what I mean?
And it was the first time we literally saw the camp up and running. Any other time that the camp's like abandoned or Higgins Haven was just like a area that was a couple miles away from Crystal Lake, or you had camp, you had the kids at camp in the first movie when Mrs. Voorhees, that POV shot is kind of just looking in on the kids, just passing through. But it's the first time the camp was up and running, and that was like you said, it added something to it where it's just like, okay, what's going to happen with these kids? Like, yeah, the kids are likable, but let's not forget what type of movie we're in. Motherfuckers is getting murked left and right. Like, this is a movie where there's a triple decapitation in it. Like, are these kids going to get killed or not? And rightfully so.
So I have a fucking beef. I have a beef with Screen Rant. They say that is like the fucking worst kill in the franchise. Fuck you guys. That's not the best, but it's not the worst. But it is the funniest kill in the franchise. So Screen Rant, whoever fucking did that article, don't know shit. I'm just saying. That's fucking bullshit. That is not the worst kill in the franchise.
I want to know Scream Rant's top. I want to know their ranking. That's how I feel. I want to know Scream Rant's ranking of that shit, because you cannot beat a triple decapitation at all at any point in time. Is it over the top? Yeah, but for Jason to be undead finally, I want him to wreck shit. I want him to set up shop and establish himself. Like, listen, this is what you're getting from here on out. I'm not bleeding anymore. I'm not getting injured anymore. I'm taking bullets to the face. You know, all types of shit. I love it. That triple decap is fire, and I don't think I've seen it in any other movie. I don't think I've ever seen a triple decapitation. And not only does he do that, but he does a double impalement. Like, he does a double impalement in that shit for two dumbass characters who are proposing to each other in the woods. I fucking hated those characters. They were just pointless as shit. They were.
That's why they got knocked off in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. A whole nother topic for another time. Another time. What are we on, number 2?
Yeah, you're number 2.
So my number 2, I feel like rightfully so, is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Now, this fucking movie, if they would have made this the last Friday the 13th movie, I would have been cool with that. I would have been cool with 4 movies in the franchise. Corey Feldman, wait, was this... This was pre Goonies. I think this was probably the same year as Gremlins, because I think Gremlins was 85, or was that 84? Can't remember.
84.
Yeah, same year as Gremlins, but Corey Feldman is such a fucking interesting and likable character as a, I almost called him Tommy Doyle, goddamn, as Tommy Jarvis. And I think Tom Savini was kind of like putting himself into the movie, even though he did the effects. I feel like Tom Savini was putting himself into the movie with the character of Tommy Jarvis. He was a special effects guy, and he was really into like making masks and shit like that. That was a nice touch. I love the gesture of Tom Savini coming back. He always says that he made the monster, so they let him come back to kill his monster off. And it really was it was like a definitive Friday the 13th movie. Like, it gives you everything that you would want in a Friday the 13th movie. Everybody's having sex, everybody's getting high, everybody's going skinny dipping. It's kind of like what they did with the New Blood, but they did it a hell of a lot better. And this is another movie in the series where if you took Jason out of this movie, I would have watched it. I still would have watched this movie. These characters, and I don't remember who it was. As a matter of fact, the commentary that's on the DVD I think it's Adam Green and Joe Lynch They do commentary for part 4, and and it's a funny ass commentary, bro. And they say that you kind of are watching almost a John Hughes film, where these characters are so 80s, these characters are so interesting, they're so likable. I don't think there's a character that I don't like in Friday the 13th Part 4. I love all these characters. And then you get Crispin Glover. For God's sakes. The first kill of the movie, I love those two characters, Axel and whoever that girl is. Axel gets a fucking, like, a bone saw to his neck, and Jason just twists his head. The kills are crazy. The kills are fucking wild in this movie, man. And listen, if I got any gripes with this movie, how the fuck did Jason get black fingernails? Like, this is literally a continuation of part 3. It's the same day. It's at night when it starts, but it's the same day when Chris gets taken into the back of the into the back of the cop car. How the fuck did Jason just sprout black fingernails? My gripes are small with this shit, but I think it is one of the definitive slasher movies of the 80s entirely, man. I love the final act because Kimberly Beck as Trish, she is one of the best final girls in horror history. She gives Jason a run for his money. And I love the fact that the guy, Eric Anderson, I think his name is. Yeah. Eric Anderson, Rob, he is one of the most pump faking ass motherfuckers in horror that I've ever seen, because here's this guy with this big ass backpack, like he's, like he really is hunting bear, like he says in the movie. He's got his rifle, he's got his map, he's got his hunting knife. You talked all this shit. Yeah, I'm hunting. I'm looking for my, well, he didn't say looking for it. He said, yeah, my sister Sandra got killed by this guy, Jason Voorhees. I'm looking for him, man, and I'm going to put a stop to him. And as soon as you come across Jason Voorhees, you bitching. You get killed right then and there. And he has one of the best death scenes in the franchise because he is fully aware that this motherfucker's about to die. He's screaming, oh God, he's killing me, before Jason even takes the first whack. And that death scene is so fucking disturbing because you don't really have anybody in the series except for the girl that's hanging from the sleeping bag in the remake. You don't have anybody that's acknowledging the fact that they're being killed. And that shit fucked me up as a kid, man. That shit really fucked me up mentally. And Ted White, rest in peace, shout out to Ted White. He's an underrated as Jason performance. This is the first time we've seen Jason run full speed in the final chapter. When Trish runs out the front door, he is gunning it after her. He's running full motherfucking speed, full fucking force. And he takes an ass whooping in this. He gets his hand sliced with the machete.
This is pre-dead Jason though, so I think that's why he's able to run.
Yeah, he ate his fucking Wheaties in the beginning of that movie, man. And then it's mean spirited too, because you get that girl who's hitchhiking and she's eating a banana and he just kills her for no fucking reason. He's just passing through and he stabs her in the back of the throat or in the back of the neck, and it comes out her throat. Like, he just killing motherfuckers for no reason. And the gore effects are fire in final chapter. The gore effects are fucking flames. Now, one of the problems I do have, another problem I have is Jason. I mean, no, it was well deserved. I'll take that back. I was about to say he shot that guy with a spear gun in his dick, but he deserved it because he had one of the best looking girlfriends in the whole fucking movie, and he just was dancing with the twin, and he's just like, acting like he doesn't have a whole girlfriend, and then he goes to look for his girlfriend, she's already dead, and Jason, well deserved because Jason shot him in the dick. It's like you didn't do what you were supposed to do with that thing, so I'm going to take care of that for you. So yeah, my number two.
I'm going to castrate you.
Yeah. And it showed a different level of supernatural Jason. Like, I don't know how he had the strength to lift that motherfucker up with the spear gun, but he's one-handing that shit. He's one-handing that shit, and that dude's just like above water and shit. But that's my number two.
Right through his dick and right into his asshole.
Oh,
that's what's happening right there. Holy shit.
It's low-key one of the most painful deaths in the franchise on the low.
Yeah.
On the low.
Yeah, definitely. My number two is part 2. I think it is the quintessential slasher of the 80s. I like that Jenny breaks all the final girl rules. She drinks, she smokes, she gets laid, and she still survives. And that is one of the things that is often overlooked about that movie is that
Oh shit!
she is the only final girl, with the exception of Sydney, is the only final girl to not only to break all the rules and survive, but also to fucking leave the camp for a majority of the movie and come back and still survive. Like, cause she is gone for a majority of the movie at the bar with her friends, getting drunk and high. And
Hey,
then
yo,
she comes back.
I never thought about that, yo.
She comes back and then fucking still whips Jason's ass. You know, and it's because she's able to break those rules, she's able to manipulate Jason. And it's because of she doesn't have innocence. Ginny was never innocent. Like, there was nothing innocent about her when you meet Ginny. Like, when you meet Ginny, she's a tomboy through and through.
Yeah,
And,
she is.
you know what I mean? She's a different type of final girl, and she breaks all the fucking rules. She breaks them. And still survives.
I love Amy Steele. Like, even though April Fool's Day is a sucker punch of a slasher movie, I just love Amy Steele's personality in every movie she's in. Like, every movie she's in, especially the horror movie she's in. So I definitely like her and shit.
Yeah, so, you know, part two, I think, and Jason actually looks the coolest in there with the mask and the overalls. He does look much more scarier, but the mask is what makes him much more iconic. There is a difference there, you know what I mean? So,
and he didn't even bother to cut the other eye hole open. He's just fucking running around with that one precise eye hole, and he's still...
because the other eye is fucking, like, swollen as fuck, dude. You can't see out of that eye anyway.
Yeah, and that shit's down here some fucking where, too. So, he just chalked it. He just chalked it.
Yeah, so, man, I don't know if that little eye, man, he could see. But I remember talking to Steve Dash, and he was like, dude, that shit was so uncomfortable. Like, they had to fucking do something else with that because he got a rash when he did that because they had to tape it. So he got a fucking mean rash on his face because they had to put tape on the bag just to hold it in position.
Let me just say, bro, that was a nice little quick flex that you tried to sweep under the rug. It's like, yeah, I remember talking to Steve Dash. No big deal. No big deal, man. I meet celebrities all the fucking time. That was a quick flex. That was a quick fucking flex. Steve Dash. I didn't know you met Steve Dash and actually talked to him. That's fly as shit.
Yeah, I met Steve Dash and he hit on my lady, dude. I'm like, that's Jason. Like, I don't know what you want me to do there. Oh, shit. Yeah, I met on the same convention that I met Kane Hodder at. And it's funny because when Steve Dash and Kane Hodder were in the same room, they could not stop talking shit to each other. Oh, my God. They were shouting across the room talking shit. Kane Hodder's like, I hope you fucking die. It's like, yeah, well, guess what? When I die, I'll still be more fucking famous than you, asshole.
I love it. I would have been instigating the whole thing.
Yeah, dude, those guys are fucking awesome, dude.
As far as part two goes, I got a question. When Ginny is hiding under that bed, is that her or the mouse pissing? You remember when she's hiding under the bed in the cabin? Is that her or the mouse? I
think it's supposed to imply that it's her. But then when she gets up, there's no wet spots on her, so it might be the mouse.
Yeah, I never understood that because that shit just flows right the fuck out. And it's like, I never knew whether that was her or the mouse. Like, that's the most unexplained thing in fucking Friday the 13th Part 2. That's one of the mysteries of that fucking movie, was who pissed, who peed. If anybody out there has a precise answer, please let us know in the comments. Please let us know.
Here it is. Here it is. Number one.
Obviously, my number one is Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. I mean, was there any alternative in the matter? Jason Lives, man. It's got... One of the things Tom McLaughlin, I think he said in his commentary, he wanted to film the opening sequence when Jason comes back to life in black and white. And I would have bought that. I would have bought that. Like, it's such a fucking old school Universal movie monster opening where they go to destroy Jason and then he gets struck by lightning and he gets brought back to life. First of all, just the shot alone when Jason's eye opens up and all those fucking maggots are crawling around it.
Yeah.
Jason establishes himself as supernatural right off the rip. He punches that motherfucker's, like, he punches Hall's heart out. And I'm mad the MPAA kind of got to that movie a little bit because there's supposed to be a moment where you kind of hear some squishy shit when he turns around after punching his heart out. He's supposed to be stepping on his heart. That's what that sound is. That's what that sound is. Now, Jason, he is unchained in this movie, man. You got Tony Goldwyn, who's a fucking underrated ass actor, the dude from Ghost and Belko Experiment and Last House on the Left. He gets stabbed in the dick and just launched over Jason's shoulder like dirty laundry. He doesn't give a fuck. He stabs his girl in the fucking mouth. Martin, the caretaker, gets killed, death by bottle. It's like Mrs. Doubtfire when Miss Doubtfire is like, it was quite literally the drink that killed him and shit. He gets stabbed by the fucking paint. He stabs that couple like the double impalement. Twist the black girl Cece, he twists her head around and then pulls that shit off. Court and his girlfriend in the fucking in the camper, and she's riding him and he's like, well, how much longer do I gotta keep it up? And she's like, it's only 10 more minutes, you gotta keep it up until the end of the song. Smashes her fucking head through the thing, stabs Court in the head. I love Sheriff Garris. He's an asshole, but Sheriff Garris is probably one of the most effective 80s sheriffs in horror next to Ben Meeker and
Actually does his fucking job.
Yep, absolutely. And while we hate him, while we're watching the movie, is justified. We understand why he is acting the way he's acting. He's got a daughter to protect. And then when shit hits the fan, he calls him back up and goes back to the camp. And he dies trying to save his daughter. He's got one of the best death scenes in the movie. That motherfucker gets folded like a lawn chair. That shit's bad. That shit is bad. Yeah, like a straight up lawn chair. The ending, while Tom Matthews, I like Tom Matthews. I like John Shepard's portrayal as Tommy a little bit better, but Tom Matthews, he locks into the role. I will give him that. He locks in, and he is that guy, like you said, that's like, listen, I'm going to end this tonight, whether I got to read encyclopedias to kill this motherfucker, whether I have to, get help from the sheriff's daughter. He is on a mission to stop Jason. And speaking of Jason again, even though it's simple, I love the shot when Jason walks up to the camp and he's just strolling in. Where he's just strolling in and they've got the music playing and he's just walking in. It's like he's back home again. I love that shit. And again, like you said, it's the first time we see kids actively at this camp. From the moment they pull up, it's like, oh shit. Like these aren't just teenagers that are going to be at this camp. There's actual kids involved. And back in the 80s, that probably had a lot of people like shook up because you remember back when it was rare for people to kill kids in horror movies like that. I remember when they killed that kid in the Blob remake and everybody was just fucking shocked by that shit. But to have the kids there, to have the cops actually come to the camp and investigate doing their job and shit, that fucking movie works on so many different levels. One of the other gripes I got with the movie is that it's the only movie that don't have no TNA in it. They don't show no tits and ass. None.
Yeah.
None. And the girl that, I wanted to put this on her page, like, you're a part of one of the greatest sequences of all time, but when she's fucking Court, she's completely like clothed. She's got like her t-shirt and panties on. Her birthday just passed. Happy belated birthday to Darcy DeMoss, who played Nikki, I think her name was. But she's like, she should damn near be clothed in that movie. I think it's the only Jason where you don't see no TNA, and I don't think anybody gets high. I don't think anybody does any drugs in that movie. But it still gives you everything that a Friday the 13th movie can
Court's the only one that smokes.
Court gets high in that movie?
Yeah, he smokes. That's what he's smoking.
Well, Court gets high. Okay, I'll give you that. Court gets high, and it's tongue-in-cheek, and it's the only Friday the 13th movie that breaks the fourth wall. And I will always respect Tom McLaughlin for having that movie on his resume, and I will always respect him because it was a deleted scene, or I don't know if they filmed it or if it was just in the script. This was the only movie that was going to show Jason's dad.
Yes,
that's only fucking movie.
That's in the novelization of the movie, where the ending is that the dad shows up, and the dad is just dressed up all in black, like wearing a trench coat, a button-up, cowboy boots with the hat. You don't see who it is, but he pays the carekeeper money to take care of Jason's grave.
Oh shit! But plot twist: Jason's dad, Elias Voorhees, is the Man in Black from Halloween 5. You just that'll just convolute the shit out of 2 franchises instead of 1.
For real.
I mean, I would have been cool if they ended it like that, but I'm kind of glad that, like, as far as the movie goes, the way the movie plays out, I don't know if it would have, like, how well it would have fit. Like, I don't know if they would have tried to get too serious with that moment, or if it would have been tongue-in-cheek like the rest of the movie. But I still appreciate the gesture that he tried to bring something. He brought a lot of shit to the franchise that we hadn't seen before, and we haven't seen since then.
In an interview, he said, Tom McLaughlin said that that scene was going to be very dark. Like, not dark as in shot dark, but it was not going to match the tone of the rest of the movie, because it was supposed to set up the next movie.
Right.
He wanted to do the sequel to this and then kind of carry on that tone with the dad, which you kind of see, which you kind of see with the C.J. Graham movie. Like, that's what they're trying to do.
I would have been down for Tom McLaughlin to come back. I would still be down for him to come back if Paramount and if these motherfuckers can get it together. I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. But
yeah, so Vengeance Bloodlines, that's what that's supposed to carry on to.
Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Is
Friday
that
the 13th, Vengeance 2, Bloodlines. So that's what that's supposed to be. Have you watched Vengeance yet? No.
Directions. So there could literally be a direct sequel to every Friday the 13th like entry. And Jason Lives is definitely one of them. Jason Lives is one of them. I feel like
Vengeance is a direct sequel to Jason Lives. So Vengeance is a direct sequel to Jason Lives.
Gotta write that down because I've never seen it. I think I've heard of it, but I'm really hard on fan films, bro. I am, like, because I've seen way more bad ones than I have good ones. The good ones are far and few in between, but I've seen a lot of shitty Friday the 13th fan films, man. I'd be so scared to watch them. Like, luckily, I think the last Friday the 13th fan film I saw was Roseblood, and I thought Roseblood was fire. I thought that shit was fire. I was talking a little bit of shit about the acting, but I can't go into fan films expecting, like, you know, top-notch worthy acting every single time. But Roseblood was pretty decent. The fact that they got Laura Park Lincoln back, and and Terry Kaiser and Kevin Spertus, or I can't remember how to pronounce that dude's last name, but the dude that played Nick in
Spartus.
Yeah. And I think he changed his name or some shit. But the fact that I love Friday the 13th because I feel like that is the series that people kind of take the most pride in, man. Like, you don't have, like, Crystal Lake Memories and his name was Jason. Almost everybody's in there. Unless they passed away or they were unreachable, almost everybody's in there. And I think Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street are the franchises where people are like, yeah, sure, I'll talk about it. I'll do an interview about it. But even not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street has some bougie people because I don't think you're going to get Johnny Depp for a fucking, a Nightmare on Elm Street.
No, that's not true because Johnny Depp is on a record that said, had Wes Craven asked me to be in New Nightmare, I would have been in it. I would have fucking done it. I would have done everything I could to be in New Nightmare. So Johnny Depp often credits Wes Craven for launching his career, and so he's always forever indebted to him. He said, I mean, he didn't have to do that spot for Freddy's Dead. He did it because he loved that franchise.
Yeah, he did that cameo. He definitely did it.
You know what I mean? So, like, yes, he does it. He's not a part of the documentaries. That's because no one asks him to be part of those documentaries.
They're probably scared to.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, because he's the only one that's reached the heights of, what other people haven't. You know what I mean? He's like the only star out of that whole franchise, besides Robert Englund.
I feel like outside of Robert Englund and Johnny Depp, the only person who's really up there as far as like the actors in that entire franchise was Yaphet Kotto. Doc from Freddy's Dead, and he's gone now. He was in James Bond, he was in Alien. Those 2 movies alone, that dude was a star. And he was in I can't remember the name. It wasn't Hell Up in Harlem. It was it seemed like it was one of those like blaxploitation crime movies. I can't remember.
With the Black Caesar?
Was it?
With Richard Williamson?
It might have been. I don't know. Let's see. But yeah, those are the only people that really like you said, reached the heights in their career. Midnight Run, Live and Let Die is the James Bond shit. Oh, let's see. What was he in? Perry Mason. He was in The Running Man?
Yeah, he was one of the convicts. That was Arnold's friend. That was one of the guys that they got caught up with, remember?
Oh shit. Hill Street Blues. Oh, he was in the A-Team. He's got a lot of TV credits to his name. Othello, damn. R.I.P. Friday Foster might be the movie I'm thinking about. Truck Turner.
Across 110. I think that's the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, yep. That was a goddamn.
That was a really good movie. I saw that. That was a really fire movie.
He was kind of. This was kind of like a Freddy's Dead was kind of like, I'm glad that, but I love when actors do that. They don't, like, some of them don't really look at it like, oh my God, I'm too good for this shit. You got Yaphet Kotto doing a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. You got Johnny Depp that came back for a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I love when people, like, you had John Saxon do a fucking Nightmare, take a chance on a independent movie like Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm trying to think, like, as far as the Friday the 13th franchise goes, like, who's really that person? Like,
Kevin
that's been
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. He was in the first one. He's the foundation of actors that made it. As far Kevin Bacon, and then you could say Corey Feldman, but I know his career kind of was like all over the fucking place. But Corey Feldman's still like,
yeah, Corey Feldman would be another one up there. I think that would be it, honestly. Think about it. Because none of the final girls ever fucking made it.
I hate to say it, no shade, but they didn't.
They didn't make it, you know.
I feel like the one that maybe came closest to it, shit, man, I don't know. Jensen Daggett from Jason Takes Manhattan. She was an MTV VJ at some point.
That's right. She was in the early '90s. In the early '90s, that's right. She was.
I remember I saw her. It was like spring fling or spring bling or whatever it was. I saw her. I was like, that's ready for fucking Friday the 13th. I was hype as shit, and then she kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
What's the name? I mean, the black girl from Jason Lives. She went on to be in like Young and the Restless or some shit like that. But as far as like a career, she was in Young and the Restless. She was in Fresh Prince.
Renee Jones.
Yep. She was in there. I don't know, man. As far as the rest of the cast, Kelly Hu had a pretty. She still has a pretty decent career. She's okay. She's doing all right. She was Deathstrike.
Yeah.
She was Deathstrike in X-Men 2. I give her that. And she was in The Scorpion King for all you rock fans out there. That movie was ass.
That's it, man.
That movie was ass.
My number one is The Final Chapter. I just think that's just like one of the best Friday movies. I think, again, like you said it early, if you would have ended the series right then and there, it would have been a great send-off. It's actually one of the ones that actually moves really quick. So you don't have to get bogged down with the plot or the story. It just picks up right away at the morgue, and then you're off. You know? Yep. And Corey Feldman is us. You know what I mean? Like, he is us. Like, he represents us. Like, the horror fans. Like, he is us. You know what I mean? That's who Corey Feldman is. Like, he is the horror fan. And, yeah, I think Friday 4 has more rewatchability, but I think it's not as fun as Jason Lives. But I think Final Chapter is the better movie. I think if you look at all the movies combined, I think Final Chapter is probably the best one that is filmed very well, edited very well, and it just feels like a big movie.
It is.
All the other ones,
it is put together really well.
All the other movies don't really have that feel. They all feel cheap, and they all feel low budget. But Final Chapter, for whatever reason, Joseph Zito just knew how to make that shit work. And he fucking made probably one of the best in the entries. I know people held this as probably their top 3, top 4, but this is my number 1 because I feel like this is the one movie I feel that you can show anyone and they'll be an instant Friday fan.
Yeah. And Barney Cohen, there really isn't, while I'm a Jason Lives guy, there isn't a script that plays out like the Final Chapter either. Like, the characters are so, like I said, man, like, you could take Jason out of that movie for me, and I'm watching those characters, every single one of them. I want to know, damn, well, what happened with, you know, Peter Barton's character and his girlfriend for them to be, you know, at odds with each other before they made up and had sex. Like, I want to know what Crispin Glover was going to do before he got killed. I want to know if Teddy Bear was going to keep smoking and watching porn. Like, I love those fucking characters so much that I wanted to follow them before and after, you know, the shit hit the fan, man. That script is so fucking good. And if you watch I think it's called Jason's Unlucky Day. It's like a behind the scenes, like, featurette type of thing, or not behind the scenes featurette, but they're talking about the making of that movie. Barney Cohen and Joseph Zito, you could tell they were trying to put something special into that movie because the studio told them, it was like, listen, this is going to be the last movie. This is going to be the last Friday the 13th movie. Do whatever you guys got to do. We're going to get Tom Savini back on board. It's going to be the last one. So it could have been the last fucking movie in the franchise, bro. It could have been. It's good. It's that good. Yeah.
And I think it's probably one of the better filmed movies out of the whole franchise, in my opinion. I think it's up there. Jason Lives, it's number 3, but it's one that I always watch because I feel like that's just one that you could just pop on and just, like, enjoy it. You know what I mean?
And the execution of the kills is some of the best shit in the series too, of Final Chapter. I definitely give it that. Crispin Glover's death scene, you don't see that shit coming at all. There's no build up. You don't see Jason creeping around at first. He just pops the fuck up. Like, that's an 80s jump scare right there that I feel like worked. All the, like, the way that these kills play out, man, like when the twin Tina gets killed, she looks out the window and does this, and then they got a POV shot. Yeah, and he throws that bitch. But then they build up to it. You don't get a lot of that in the Friday the 13th franchise. They build up to it. She does this and looks out and sees the bikes, and she looks back. And she does it again, and then she backs up, and then Jason crashes through the window. The kill scene with Rob is flames. Teddy's death scene, you don't know what's coming, and then Jason stabs through the projector. The girl Sam, Sam, when she's going skinny dipping and Jason, you know, impales her through the raft. When the girl, Sarah, when that axe comes through the door, first of all, I need to know, how did Jason throw that axe? Like, when Sarah's at the door and, like, what is he? Is he standing like right there and just, like, throws that shit through, and it just hits her in the fucking chest? And then the kill scene with the other twin, I love that fucking kill scene where it's just the shadow cast on the side of the house where she's getting ready to get on her bike, and you see Jason impale her with that spit. The kills are executed so fucking well. I don't argue anybody down that says that the Final Chapter is their number 1, because that spot is so fucking well deserved, yo. We'll never get a Friday the 13th movie that's that fucking good ever. Is that good?
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was our ranking. You can go back and watch this archived and watch our full ranking. I will cut this part out and upload it separately so you guys can just watch the ranking, or if you can watch the whole thing if you guys would like. But yeah, that is our ranking for our Friday the 13th movie. So thank you for everyone joining us.
What up? I got a question.
Yo.
Do you want to rank the Halloween series next? Or do you want to rank something that people wouldn't expect?
We do Halloween for October.
October. There you go.
October.
I feel we should rank something that people wouldn't even expect. Like, let's rank the Puppet Master franchise. That shit's got like 18,000 movies that I haven't seen.
We would have to find a cutoff for that. Holy shit. Talk about that series has gone like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it's been rebooted over and over again.
Ugh.
You really want to put yourself through that?
Yeah, no, I
I mean,
stopped at
you want to do Children of the Corn pretty soon too, so like obviously you're a
listen.
glutton for punishment. So I don't
I,
know.
I know my ranking for Children of Corn. Like I could do mine tonight. I watch that series often. I usually stop after part 6, and I haven't seen all of Revelations. I think that was part 7. Yeah, Revelations was part 7, and then there's Children of Corn Genesis, and then there's Children of Corn Runway, and then there's the 2009 remake. I know my ranking for that fucking series, but that's gonna be rough. It's like, somebody said it's like picking through shit and looking for the clean kernel corn in there. That's what somebody,
That's fucking gross.
that's what that shit is.
That's fucking gross.
And I feel so bad because Children of Corn is one of those fucking properties that deserves how Stephen King, like they're doing Dark Tower and It and Salem's Lot. Children of Corn deserves that. Like, I feel like it's a franchise that went completely off the fucking rails by part 3. But if you pump some money into it, you could do something with it. You could do something with that concept.
There are 11 Children of the Corns.
God damn, hold up, what?
Yeah, Children of the Corn, Final Sacrifice, Urban Hearted, The Gathering,
Fields of Terror,
Isaac's Return, Revelation, Genesis, Runaway, Children of the Corn,
the remake.
and Children of the Corn.
What? Oh, that's the remake that they didn't even come out with. Yeah. Kurt
No,
Wimmer.
this one's from 2009. This is a supernatural horror film written by Donald P. Brochers. It is based on a 77 short story of the same name. It is the 8th installment and the remake of the original. So this is the remake from 2009.
That's the one with the black girl. The black girl plays Vicky. That shit is different. Like, it's not good, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because Bert in the remake, he handles it how any person should in fucking Gatlin, Nebraska. He's killing these motherfuckers off. He's like, I don't care if y'all are kids. Y'all not about to start throwing knives at me and shit like that. I'm snapping arms. Bones are coming out and protruding out of skin. I'm breaking necks. I'm fucking these kids up. Like, he is fucking these kids up to get away from them. And that's really how that shit should be handled. That's why I like Children of Corn's a little different. I wouldn't ever want to be put in that situation. Like, I would have to be forgiven because I'm not dying.
I think Children of the Corn will be our next one for September because it's fall season and it's in the middle of the fucking fields. So I think that should be it. So we probably have to do this probably the second Wednesday. We might have to do something easier.
And these badass, evil-ass kids are going back to school soon.
Yeah. So I think that'd be the one for September.
Yep, I'm marking it down, bruh.
So I gotta fucking find these movies. God damn it!
I feel like as far as the first 6, I know where I'm placing shit at, because Children of Corn is a rough fucking watch. After part 3, shit goes crazy, but I know which ones I enjoy. And one of the things I love about that series, Charlize Theron's in the mix. Naomi Watts is in the mix. Eva Mendes is in the mix. Kane Hodder's in the mix. Alexis Arquette's in the mix. Fred Williams in the mix. Like, you've got some people
some actors in there. Oh shit!
Yeah, Kane Hodder's not in there. He's in part 5, but he's in one scene. He's a bartender in one scene, and that's only because he was a stunt coordinator on part 5. But Eva Mendes is in part 5. I think that's the first movie she was in. Yeah,
she's right there on the cover.
Yep. I love Fields of Terror, man. And I don't know if you remember Ahmet Zappa from MTV. He was an MTV VJ too. He's in that shit. Ahmet Zappa was he always reminded me of like the more comedic version of Billy Zane or some shit. That's who he reminds me of.
God, some of these posters are awful, dude. Shit. Mm-hmm. That Final Sacrifice poster is fucking awful. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you trying to say there? That looks like shit, dude.
A lot of those movies are just, or not those posters, are just photoshopped together. Like, look at Children of Corn 4's poster. They just do that shit together, copy and paste.
Yeah, that one. That looks like the kid from fucking the Sandlot. That looks like the catcher from the Sandlot holding the fucking Sith. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit.
Wait, which kid you talking about?
The kid
From the
that's up in
Sandlot.
the front and center in part 4.
But which
The
kid from
Gathering.
the Sandlot? Oh
That
my
looks
god.
like him, dude. Fields of Terror. Oh god. Isaac
Fields of
Return.
Terror. I'll say this about Fields of Terror, Children of Corn 5. That's the only movie that in the series that makes me feel like if you took away the Children of Corn, I'm still attached to those characters. I love all 4 of those characters. Alexis Arquette, Eva Mendes. I can't remember the other 2 characters' names, but I love those characters. Children of Corn 4 gets a pass because that movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. That movie, there's like 18 dream sequences, but that movie is more like a supernatural slasher movie as opposed to a fucking Children of Corn movie because it's one of the more mean ones. And it's the only one where they acknowledge who He Who Walks Behind the Rose actually was, and they took it out. It's a deleted scene. They took it out the fucking movie. And Naomi Watts her acting is actually for a Children of Corn movie. Naomi Watts' acting is pretty decent in that movie. It's not great, but it's okay. And Karen Black is in there. She's horror. Well, she was horror royalty. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Shout out to Karen Black.
Karen Black, man. Yeah, she was badass, bro. It sucks that she didn't come back for Devil's Rejects.
She didn't.
No, I don't think that was her.
Did you ever see this movie? She was in?
Before. Hold on, let me double check. Hold on, before I fucking put my foot in my mouth. Hold on a second.
Karen Black, man. Every time I see her, I think of Children of the Night. It was one of the worst fucking movies ever made. Ever. You said Devil's Rejects?
No, it's not. Mother Firefly, Leslie Easterbrook.
Somebody else played her?
Yeah.
I hate when they do that shit, man. I hate when they just recast people in movies like we won't fucking notice.
Well, she acted crazy, so, you know, they think we would notice.
Yeah, that's like when they recast, Patricia Arquette with Tuesday Night. They just slipped her in there like, nobody will notice this.
Yeah, that's a totally different person, dude. Like, what the fuck? Just because you put bangs on her does not mean we're not going to see through that shit.
I think I said this the last stream. The one time where they tried to get slick with the recasting was when they cast, I think his name was Chris Conrad. They cast that motherfucker as Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah.
We wouldn't notice Lyndon Ashby shrunk and gained a couple pounds. They tried with that casting. But no.
So, Children of the Corn, that's what we're settling on for September, right? That's going to be our ranking?
I'm going to do my ranking tomorrow.
Okay. I got to start watching this shit because I've never watched any of these films other than just passing through. So I have to fucking do some homework. So that's why we have to push this one back to like the end of the month. Like our second.
You're going to be hitting me up like, yo, I can't do this shit no more, man. I feel like by the time you get to part 3, whoo-wee, that shit is rough.
Oh,
rough.
man.
It's a rough time,
I remember
brother.
watching like parts of part 1 and thinking this shit was rough. So, yeah. And remember watching parts of part 2 and 3. Yeah. After 3.
Two's pretty decent, man. I like part 2 because it gives me kids running around town killing adults. 3 is when they start to get very supernatural. 3 is fucking bonkers, but it's got some of the craziest special effects I have ever seen in my life. Ever. Nightmare fuel type shit. Is crazy. 6 is like the only ones that have continuity are probably 1, 2, and 6. Like 2 is a sequel to the first one for the most part, but 1 and 6 both have Isaac in it. He's in both of them. And that continuity is there. Like, one of the things I like about part 6 is Isaac comes back, but the people that he's leading are children of the children. Like, they're kids of the children from the first movie. Like, I like that part, but it's, I'm going to let you, I hope you make it. I hope you make it.
I'm gonna
I hope
have
you
to.
make it.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to.
Ooh-wee.
I am anything but a trooper though. So I will go through these movies. I have 8 of them to get through. I believe that was 8, and I will do it. Don't. I will say though, you will be hearing from me after each one after I watch them. 2, 3,
I'm
4,
telling
5,
you.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11, including the remake. I will
Whew,
make
and
it through.
wait till you get to Genesis. God damn it. I remember buying that on DVD, and I was like, this can't be as bad as I think it is. And I'm just like Billy Drago's in it, and I'm
Oh
just
god.
watching it like, fuck, like something has to happen at some point. And
Billy
listen,
fucking Drago's in this movie. That's already a red flag for me.
Billy Drago and the chick, that hot ass chick from Hostel, the one that was fucking, was she fucking Josh or Paxton? I can't remember, but she was definitely
Yeah,
one of the girls in Hostel.
Barbara. Barbara Nijijekovic or something. Helen or Oskana.
Yeah, that's the chick. I'm pretty sure that's one of the chicks from Hostel. I think, matter of fact, no, she was the one that was fucking Paxton, and
Yeah, Hostel. She is Natalia.
yeah, she's freaked out in Children of the Corn as well. She's freaked out in that shit. Wait till you see her performance.
Oh god.
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to experience the hell that I've been through with that fucking series.
So Jaime Sanchez presents says, just saw Nope. That movie was entertaining. Yes, I agree.
Okay, good.
Nope was a very good movie. I enjoyed that. I thought that was very excellent. Um, I it's I like it because it's a twist on alien invasion. Like it's a twist. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy it. It's a subtle twist. It's a subtle change, but I enjoy it. But it's his version of World of the Worlds, but on a smaller scale.
I'm not gonna lie. It comes out on VOD Friday. I'm gonna watch it a second time, and I'm gonna do commentary for it because when I watched it, like shit flew over my head so bad, and I didn't want to be the only black person that's like, well, I didn't get it. I refuse. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna do my commentary for it. I'm gonna lock in. I'm going to lock in. I can't say whether it was bad or good because it was. I'll say it wasn't really what I expected it to be. I was like, oh shit, Jordan Peele's got a shit. He's got more money and he's gonna do his alien version. Like I feel like Get Out was a psychological thriller. Us was almost not a zombie movie, but it was almost like it wasn't a creature
movie.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, he's trying to tackle different subgenres with his movies, but Nope was I thought it was going to be something different than what it was, and I should have known because one of his inspirations for Nope was Jaws,
And Wizard of Oz and Close Encounters.
I understand Close Encounters, and I kind of understand Jaws because there's so much more going on than just a shark killing people. Like when you think you're going to go into Jaws and you're going to get this shark killing people from start to finish, you don't get that. You get a lot of character development. You get a lot of monologues. You get a lot of dialogues and character interaction. And that's what Nope was. And I swore I was going in like, okay, he's going to let it rip. And I should have known from the trailers based on how he designed the UFOs alone. I was like, wait, like, what the fuck is going on here? Like Jordan Peele is one of them people. I want to interview him. Like we need to try to get him on the stream and figure out like what makes this motherfucker's brain tick because his style of filmmaking is so different. And I try to look for it like in the Key and Peele sketches. I can't find it.
Watch all the horror the Key and Peele sketches, like the ones that would do like the Gremlins and the horror versions of those.
Yeah.
You see it. You see it. You know what I mean? You can
like
totally
like
see it.
He did like the zombie apocalypse one. He did the one where the vampires are just too sexy. He did the one where the little boy's dying, but he's evil or something like that. And he keeps like flatlining and coming back to life or some shit. Like I think it's like a compilation video out there somewhere where they have hold up. I said that's true. I saw it weeks ago and still don't see how. his head at the beginning connected to the whole movie. I didn't expect the movie to be what it was. Totally cool.
So
yeah, that monkey miss. Yeah, man.
So
yeah, man.
it's not really about the monkey. It's really about predators. It's about predatories. It's a cautionary tale about how people perceive how to tame a predator. The monkey was a predator in that sequence because it was demolishing the whole entire set. And then at the whole time, like Daniel Kaluuya's character, he's understanding that this is not a spaceship. This is an animal. He understands that it doesn't move like a spaceship. It moves like an animal. It moves like a predator. And that's the thing. That's what Stephen Ewan's character is pressing about, because he thinks that he can tame a predator by not looking at it and exploiting it, which is what he is doing. He's exploiting this predator by feeding it horses. And so he's thinking because he survived a predator that he can do it again, but not realizing that he is completely overestimating his prowess and his survival instincts. Daniel Kaluuya's character understands it because he tames animals. And it even tells you, it's like, don't look a horse in its eye. Do not have the reflection into the horse's eye, because it's gonna do that. Him being the animal controller that he is him understanding the alien spaceship. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, the monkey is a connection, is basically the metaphor for the spaceship. You know what I mean?
As far as that monkey, how much of that monkey was actually CG? Like, when that monkey
was real up until the point where it started, like the hand.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering.
And then when it got shot.
That's what I was wondering, because when the monkey like spots the kid under the table and starts approaching it and does the little about to do the fist bump thing and then runs off, I was like, is that shit? Like, is it or is it not CG? I don't know. I think if it was CG, it definitely wasn't somebody in a suit. Like, they didn't get Andy Serkis to play that fucking monkey like they did in Planet of the Apes. Speaking of which, they're rebooting Planet of the Apes again. Speaking of monkeys.
Really? Why?
Bro, they announced the news, and I didn't write it down as news for the show, because they announced it and they're like, Planet of the Apes reboot is a green light, and they're casting Owen Teague, and I'm like, motherfucker that played Patrick Hocksetter in It Chapter 1 and 2. I'm like, this motherfucker hasn't been in anything. Why are you headlining him with a Planet? First of all, I still haven't seen, like, the original Planet of the Apes had like 8 movies. They had like not Rise, but they had Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Escape the Planet of the Apes. I didn't see all of those. I saw the one with Charleston Heston, the first one, and then I saw the Tim Burton one. I don't know who's with me here, but I like the one that Tim Burton did. I like practical over CG. I like practical over CG.
I agree with you there, but I don't like the design of the apes.
Yeah. You ain't like Mark Wahlberg as a strong lead in that movie?
Fuck Mark Wahlberg.
You got the same confused face as he, at the end, when he realizes that he fucked up the timeline. He's got the same look at the end of that movie that he does all throughout The Happening, where he's just like, what, huh? Yeah. I don't even think they gave, like, for The Happening, I don't even think they gave Mark Wahlberg a script. Like, I think that they were just telling him scenarios throughout the whole fucking movie for him to just be confused.
It's just M. Night Shyamalan telling him, hey, look at the camera and look confused.
God damn it, man. That movie, that's another movie where it's like the first time I watched it, it was so entertaining. We were all drunk as shit, a basement full of us, we watched it. But then when you watch it again, it's like, Mark Wahlberg's performance is fucking terrible. And was that Zooey Deschanel that was in that movie? The girl Zooey Deschanel. John Leguizamo, if anybody should have been the lead, it should have been him. Like, it should have been him, and he fucked himself up. And I felt so bad because he had a daughter. But M. Night Shyamalan, man, that's a motherfucker that's hit or miss. I don't think we could ever do a ranking of his movies because I just wouldn't want to.
Yeah, Woman in the Water, I can't deal with that. No way. No, Lady in the Water, can't do it.
Village. The Village was ass. God damn it. And I like M. Night Shyamalan. He's from Pennsylvania, Bucks County. I respect him. And he films his shit on location here in Philly. but his shit is just way too hit or miss for me, man. It's way too fucking
He
hit or
leans
miss.
in too much on the twist. That's what it is. Like he leans way too much into that. Like all of a sudden, like that's his gimmick now. You know what I mean? Like if you don't get a twist by the end of the movie, it's like, oh, it's not really an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
God damn, man. I mean, I do have to finish. What is it? Glass. I think I got to finish Glass. I haven't seen it. Split was fucking great. I love Split.
Split was good. I haven't seen Glass yet. The
Yeah,
ending was ruined
I
for me,
started
so
it, but I
I'm
didn't
kind
do
of
it.
like I'm on the fence now whether or not I want to watch it. But I don't know. I might have to just give it a go and see.
Honestly, everybody that loves Split, I always tell them, like, I ask them, have they ever seen Raising Cain? Because before there was Split, there was fucking Raising Cain, man.
Oh,
And
bro. If you have the means, I would recommend buying the Blu-ray on Screen Factory. They
Raising Cain?
have Raising Cain, but the director's version in the way that Brian De Palma intended it to be edited. It is a much more crazier experience.
I didn't even know there was a director's cut.
Yeah, there's a director's cut of
never
Raising
knew.
Cain, and it's more in vein of like a Pulp Fiction rather than just a straightforward narrative.
That's a bold comparison you just made right there.
But that's the only comparison that I got because of what I was told how the movie was edited in. Because the beginning is the end, the middle is the beginning, and the end is the beginning, and it puts context into different.
I see what you mean.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy because I was just watching Pulp Fiction or some of Pulp Fiction earlier today. I get what you're saying though. Like I like sometimes that works for me. Sometimes it's annoying. But as long as you tie everything together and it's in good context, I can deal with like the beginning being the end and that type of shit. I can deal with that. That is definitely worth the fucking watch though. A director's cut of Raising Cain because I love that movie. Always like the trailer when I was a kid alone kind of had me creeped out, but then watching the movie play out, it's still decent. Like it still holds up. And John Lithgow sells that shit. He sells that shit. I don't know about like his performances now because him as Judd in Pet Sematary, nah.
I cannot deal with that.
That remake fucking sucked.
Yeah.
That was so fucking disappointing, man. I hate to talk shit about John Lithgow, but it's like you motherfuckers had nothing to work with outside of him, and he didn't even work. And then they cast Jason Clarke as Louis Creed, and I don't like Jason Clarke. I don't. I hate to say it, but I don't like Jason Clarke. I feel like that motherfucker.
That's my guy, man. That's my guy.
John Connor. Hashtag not my John Connor.
Oh man, I'm kind of
You know what I like Jason Clarke in? I like Jason Clarke when he was in White House Down. And that's only because him and Channing Tatum got to have a little fisticuffs and it was a fake ass Die Hard. But other than that, I don't think Jason Clarke can act. Like when he was in Terminator Genesis, he's fucking terrible in that fucking movie. God damn. He I don't know who was worse out of him and Jai Courtney. I'll probably take Jason Clarke over Jai Courtney.
I'd take Jai Courtney over Jason Clarke, man. Jai Courtney's fucking just. Yeah. He's great as Boomerang, but anything else, man, nah, I can't fuck with him. I'm sorry.
That's it. That's the performance of his career is Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
But anything else, like I don't like him playing Kyle Reese. Somebody need to slap the shit out of what the fuck is that dude's name that did Terminator Genesis? I don't know. I think I want to say it's Tim Miller.
Yeah, Tim Miller.
God damn, man. Is that the dude that did Deadpool?
Yup.
Oh, no. It's Alan Taylor.
Is it Alan Taylor? Hold on.
What the fuck did we say Tim Miller? I don't know. Alan
Tim
Taylor
Miller did Dark Fate. That's what it was.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Tim Miller did Dark Fate.
And Dark Fate gets a pass in comparison to Genesis. Genesis just fucking sucks. The first act had promise, but that's like a quick ranking series for me too. That's some shit that I wouldn't even have to write down. Because all those movies are kind of as follows in the ranking. With the exception of Salvation is like my number 3. That's my number 3.
I would have to go back and watch Salvation. I would have to go back and watch that. But I do remember liking it, though.
Bro, they were on the right track. They were on the right track story-wise. All they had to do was Star Wars that shit.
You know,
they
it's much
1, 2, 3.
It's much like like Liam Neeson's rant on TV that hurt MIB International. Is the same. Christian Bale's rant backstage hurt that movie.
Oh, that's right. He was going off, yo. He was going off.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, good for you." I remember when that shit dropped. I was like, "Holy shit!" I love that shit though. Like when actors go on rants between Christian Bale's rant, Liam Neeson, and Tom Cruise. When Tom Cruise was on Mission Impossible set, did you hear that rant?
Yeah, I did that. Hey, but you know what? I can't fault Tom Cruise because they were filming during a fucking pandemic. So, I mean, his rant was justified. Like,
yeah, it was.
His rant was justified. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're going to get the fucking thing shut down by not following CDC guidelines. Like, come on, dude. Like, do your job. That's it.
He said, if I see it again, you're fucking gone.
Fired.
Tom Cruise got... Yeah, Tom Cruise is the type of motherfucker that like he has pull to fire the director. Like Tom Cruise is one of them dudes. I feel like if somebody even suggests, like Tom, you should get a stuntman for this, he's gonna fire the person that suggests the stuntman and the stuntman that they've got on the call sheet. Tom Cruise is just that dude. He was gonna film a movie in space when they were gonna shut down all movie productions during COVID. He was going to film a movie in space with the director from Jumper, Doug Liman. He was going to film a movie in space. He said, well, we can't get it done down here. Then up we go. Fuck it. We up there. Tom, man.
Yeah. Fucking Tom. Fucking Tom Cruise, man. That's another ranking we should probably think about doing. MI, Mission Impossible.
Oof. Oh my God. I would have to watch all of them. I know the first one is what it is. I know I don't really care for part 2. Part 3 is the one where shit started to get different. Part 3 is when shit got different. I got a soft spot for Ghost Protocol. That sequence when he's in Dubai and he's got those gloves on, I'm like, oh my God.
The only one I haven't seen is Rogue Nation. That's the only one that I haven't seen.
Rogue Nation, I think, is the one with the... I'm trying to think of the big stunt that was in Rogue Nation. I think it was when...
That's the airplane. It's the one he's taking on the carrier.
Okay, that one was good, too. I think that's the one with the motorcycle chase sequence. And then the one after that is Fallout. God damn, that movie.
Fire, dude. That shit was fucking dope. That shit was fire.
Listen, after I saw Fallout, I don't blame Henry Cavill for not shaving the mustache for Justice League reshoots. Fuck that. Fuck them reshoots.
Yeah, for real.
Fuck them. Henry Cavill, man, he went from like a kung fu master to Two-Face in the same movie. That shit was badass, man. I love fucking Fallout. That was like one of the best action movies that came out that year.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fallout... I don't know if that's like my number 1, but it's definitely up there, dude. Like I really do like Fallout a lot. And a Mission Impossible Fallout. That's one that I could rewatch again. Next to the first one. I actually like the first one. I think people give the first one a bad rap. Like it's not that bad of a movie. People say it's convoluted and confusing, but it's really not, dude. It's really not that convoluted. It was John Voight the whole entire time. Like how is that confusing?
Emilio Estevez was in the first one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he got killed in the elevator.
He was part of the crew that got killed in the beginning. I think I played the game on N64 more than I watched the fucking movie back in the day, and that game was fucking garbage. That shit was terrible. The effects were terrible, but that's the shit we were into.
That was a money grab. That's why I didn't even bother getting the game, dude. I was like, yeah, you fucking serious? I'm good. I'm good about that.
Yeah, I feel like Mission Impossible, honestly, that's the only reason that is not my favorite action franchise of all time is because those motherfuckers be cheating. They really do their own stunts. There's no... Yeah, they be cheating. Like, Tom Cruise is really on these motorcycles. He's really strapped the fucking, airplanes and jets and shit. Vin Diesel, he don't be doing stunts. He don't be doing it. He's got a stuntman with motion capture dots on his face. And Mission Impossible, they cheat. They really do their own stunts. And it's not fair. It's not fair.
That's why Dwayne Johnson called him a pussy. Holy shit.
That's a ranking I want you to join me for, is when let's rank the Fast and Furious movie.
I'm caught up, dude. I'm ready. I'm caught up. So we can do that. We can do that whenever. I'm down. I already know what's going to be my ranking.
I think I ranked mine on TikTok, but I have to go back and re-rank it. Like I think I have to go back and re-rank it. I just ranked them on a whim, but I've really got to go back and figure it out. You would think I would know it off the rip, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I used to think Fast 9 was like in my top 3, but I don't know if it is.
All right, I'm getting. So Instagram is giving me a countdown. I think we exceeded our time limit because now it's almost time to get going.
That's how you know we got it popping.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on our R&Z